Bitch. Ay, ay, I be a savage. I don't fuck with people who is so average. My girl a bad bitch, saying she not in love with all my habits. Stay with a poke like cactus, stay with a dream like mattress. Stay with a beam and aim at your spleen. In the streets now you cannot lack it. I be a savage. I don't fuck with people who is so average. My girl a bad bitch, saying she not in love with all my habits. Stay with a poke like cactus, stay with a dream like mattress. Stay with a beam and aim at your spleen. In the streets now you cannot lack it. Found me some dollars, you know where I'm at. I act like a scholar all over the map. Your girl got her booty all up in my lap. I might take her home, but you know that's a rap. Driving in various cars, bitch I'm a star, be bound to go far. Yeah, I did be crazy. All of these bitches they wanted my baby. Shaking the club like it's Haiti. Wake the next morning, feel like I be 80. Bitch I be achy, bitch I don't know you, I don't know your crew. You don't know me, bitch what you gonna do? I be a dog, no Scooby to do. I be a bear, no Winnie the Pooh. Walk in this bitch like what it do? Bitch bust down, yeah bust a move. I be a savage. I don't fuck with people who are so average. My girl a bad bitch, saying she not in love with all my habits. Stay with a poke like cactus, stay with a dream like mattress. Stay with a beam and aim at your spleen. In the streets now you cannot lack it. I be a savage. I don't fuck with people who are so average. My girl a bad bitch, saying she not in love with all my habits. Stay with a poke like cactus, stay with a dream like mattress. Stay with a beam and aim at your spleen. In the streets now you cannot lack it. Nothing to lose, all of my bills I get bruised, blue. I be so loony without the tune. Concrete jungle, Zebu my food. Bitch I been ape, bitch I be great. You a mistake, only that way. Top in the state, bitch I doing my thing. Interstate highway, I don't got no lane. Up on the heat, bitch I'm letting it bang. Scotty your thoughts, I be blowing your brain. Out of the box and they think I'm insane, but I do not sweat it, bitch these people are lame. Bitch I'm original, you just a criminal stealing my content. Message subliminal, Hiding your face like a YouTube comment. Bitch, I be skirting, my heart be hurting. Bitches I do not be flirting with. It is for certain, more than a person. I be a legend, you know I'm the shit. Bitch, we not equal, life is no sequel. Why the fuck are you all up on this dick? Doing my thing, I don't give a fuck. I probably last longer if you take a pic. Bitch, I be skirting, my heart be hurting. Bitches I do not be flirting with. It is for certain, more than a person. I be a legend, you know I'm the shit. Bitch, we not equal, life is no sequel. Why the fuck are you all up on this dick? Doing my thing, I don't give a fuck. I probably last longer if you take a pic. I be a savage. I don't fuck with people who are so average. My girl a bad bitch. Saying she not in love with all my habits. Stay with a boat like cactus. Stay with a dream like mattress. Stay with a beam and aim at your spleen. In the streets now you cannot lack it. I be a savage. I don't fuck with people who are so average. My girl a bad bitch. Saying she not in love with all my habits. Stay with a boat like cactus. Stay with a dream like mattress. Stay with a beam and aim at your spleen. In the streets now you cannot lack it.
Yo, guys. I'm gathering some articles right now, so just enjoy some music. Enjoy my Be Real. I recorded myself in Portland. A lot of Rafaels. While I gather some articles. Stick around. We'll be starting in like probably 10 minutes or so. I got so much content lined up for tonight. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Radically Moderate on all the platforms, live on everything. I'm streaming in 5 different fucking places right now, motherfuckers! Sorry. No regrets. how embarrassing. How embarrassing. Oh, husband, oh, you can't be looking at me like this. We'll just be switching over to this. And let me zoom out a little bit. Yo, it's your boy, Radically Moderate, back once again at the ill behavior. Nothing can save you. How's everybody doing tonight? I am glorious. I would say other words, but the trans movement have hijacked it. I might as well just do research with the stream up. I was like, hey, I'll just, people want to jump in here and just start shooting this shit with me. I was like, why not? I'm here, I'm live. So what do you got here? Liberty Daily. Pro-life bill fails in South Carolina and Nebraska. Interesting. HBCU/DIE departments. North Carolina Supreme Court issues bombshell ruling, which could increase how many Republicans are in U.S. Congress. Tucker Carlson snubs job offer worth millions, more than Fox News salary. I don't think he even responded. Unity, Illinois State University set to hold segregated graduation ceremonies. Why are healthy people dying of myocarditis? Oh, we all know why. The monster who stuffed a 10-year-old into a backpack gets life without parole. What are some of these articles here? Yeah, they are. So what's going on here? Alito says he's good. He's a good idea who leaked this Dobbs decision and why. Well, I'll just start reading this. Supreme Court Justice Alito says he's got a good idea of who leaked the Dobbs decision and why. Just days before the anniversary of the leak that would change the scope of the trust of the nation's highest court, Justice Samuel Alito says he's got a good idea of who leaked the draft signing the end of Roe v. Wade. What, was it one of his staffers? Was it him? I know who it was. It was me. Alito says the Supreme Court marshal tasked with the investigation of the leak did a good job with the resources that were available to her and ultimately agreed the information investigation was insufficient for a public accusation, according to an interview from Wall Street Journal. But you fired all the people involved, right, though? I personally have a pretty good idea of who is responsible, but that's different from the level of proof that is needed to name somebody. Alito said he feels certain about the motive. It was part of an effort to prevent the Dobbs draft from becoming a decision of the court, and that's how it was used for those 6 weeks by the people outside the court as part of a campaign to try to intimidate the court. The decision in Jobs versus Jackson's Women's Health Organization, which allowed states to impose laws restricting abortion access, leaked on May 2nd, 2021. Oh, it's almost 2 years ago now. In an article published by Politico. The High Court's investigators spent 9 months probing the matter before releasing a report in January that found evidence was insufficient to name anyone publicly. The report indicated that there was little to be done to solve the case, but still open avenues to pursue. The account from Alito stems from an interview conducted jointly by the Wall Street Journal reporter and a conservative lawyer. We got to make sure we name the politics of the lawyer. This is so frustrating. The author of the Dobbs decision also rejected theories that the culprit behind the leak must have been a conservative in order to lock in the 5-justice majority to overturn the abortion. That's infuriating to me, Alito said of that theory. Look, this made us a targets of assassination. Why would I do that to myself? Why would the 5 of us have done that to ourselves? That's quite implausible. So you're saying the other justices did it, and it cause you to have a sad? The other justices did it to you. Man, it's got to be wild that like only half of the people on Supreme Court don't really have to worry about assassins and stuff. Isn't that wild? Alito was also asked during the interviews about ethic accusations against Clarence Thomas regarding reports he had disclosed trips with a wealthy GOP donor. He declined to comment, but argued there was a concerted attack on the court and on individual justices, adding that pattern is new during my lifetime. We are being hammered daily, and I think it's quite unfair in a lot of instances. Nobody, particularly nobody, is defending us. The idea has always been that judges are not supposed to respond to criticism. But if the courts are being unfairly attacked, the organized bar will come to their defense. If anything, they participated in some degree in these attacks. Alito dismissed critics who mocked the Supreme Court and said it's low approval reading from the public. Yeah, well, what do you expect when you're day in and day out? They're illegitimate. They're engaging in all sorts of unethical conduct. They're doing this, they're doing that, he said. This is a great article. I'm joking. This is terrible journalism. I hate the way they wrote this. Colleen, D.C., Supreme Court reporter. You can do better. If you guys like this type of content, leave a like down below. Subscribe, share for friends. Radically Moderate out of here. Shocking video shows high school male who identifies as female beating up girls after being denied entrance to the women's locker room. What else would they do? They got all that testosterone pumping through them. They're aggressive. They're angry. You misgendered them. You're going to have to get it. If you misgender... You misgendered me. I'm a lady. This video is disturbing though, so I gotta crack some jokes because of how upsetting this is. This is in California. It's almost like they brought this upon themselves. Oh, let me rewind that, sorry. Is that the thing right there? Is that the he, she, they, them? Gonna go beat up some girls? I just realized I'm sitting in front of the picture. Let me slide off to the side. Whoa! Oh my God! You're so angry! You're gonna beat up some girls? Look how psychotic you look! Wow, bro! Wow! You gonna beat up some girls some more? You feel tough? You feel strong? Holy shit. I'm sorry. That was... Woo! Demanding access to female spaces. Yeah, I know why he wants access to female spaces. Do we got some more camera angles here? He assaulted a girl after exposing his genitalia and spitting at girls in the locker room, according to a student witness.
and another student who was born male and identifies involved a female student and another student who was born male and identifies themselves as a transgender female. Now,
look at that giant dude just shoving girls around twice half his size.
Shows another altercation between the two, and many people have taken to social media, specifically parents, to voice their concerns. Some of them saying that the transgender student is much larger than the other student. Now, that fight was eventually broken up by school staff.
No, this person's an absolute bully. They're using their victim status as a perceived sexual minority, deviant more like, to creep on girls, go in the bathrooms, and then get physical with the girls because he's physically bigger than them. But people can't react to him because he's a vulnerable group because you can't beat up a trans person. Absolute terrible behavior here. I hate what's going on. Sky Adams is speaking. Yeah, I hope this guy gets arrested and charged, and I hate this type of behavior, but this is what the world, the left wants. If you guys like this type of content, like what I'm covering, share, leave a like down below, subscribe, leave a comment, tell me how disgusted you are. Radically Moderate out of here.
I'm not saying it's even. You know, somebody might have been 90% bad and the other one was 10% responding to it or something. So there's no way we can know from looking in, but I certainly...
Sky Adams is live right now on Twitter Spaces,
was all bad.
Talking about Steven Crowder's divorce.
Situation. It's possible. We don't know from the outside, but I wouldn't guess that.
Well, let's talk about the phenomenon of the grift industry, right? Because Crowder has this spat, which Cooley talked about, he saw on Candace Owens' feed. Now it seems like everybody has to dogpile on. My theory is people see the engagement and say, okay, I want engagement. Let me hop on this grift. He's a bad guy because that's which way the wind blew. Would you concur?
I think everybody's working out their own problems through them. Like they've become the model that you can work out your own anger. I'm really mad at my wife. Well, that Crowder wife sure is bad. You know, basically everybody's just putting it through their own filter, and it's not even about the Crowders.
Everyone's biased.
What'd you say, Cooley?
I said the patriarchy be kicking men ass.
I got two questions. So first, is this because Jerry Springer died and they had to bring it back into real life? Or second, when is the album dropping? Like, I'm expecting Crowder to drop an album any minute now because
it feels like an album rollout for Crowder.
The rollout.
It definitely has that vibe.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what he's up to, but it does seem that there's a pattern of people associated with the political right being taken out, often because of their own behavior. But it does seem to be a growing pattern. So I think things heat up when you get closer to a presidential election. So you're going to see people taken off the field on both sides, I think.
I just think it all plays into that conservative Inc. X division shit that I've been talking about.
What's that?
The conservative Inc. X division. They've been splitting up, trying to take half of what used to be conservative Inc. in a different alternative direction. And people will follow it in that direction because that's exactly what they wanted him to do. So Crowder's just kind of playing into that himself.
You played yourself.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell if Crowder is in control of his situation or he's been caught up in a bunch of events and he's just treading water trying to stay alive. It's hard to tell from the outside.
He's like kind of the one who made this public himself.
It's very hard to tell from the outside.
Yeah, next week though.
Baby Mercy. Wait, who came to the stage that we didn't get to? I think it was Baby Mercy.
I talked for a moment.
Okay. Did you have anything you want to say before we get to Bianca Perez?
Nope, that's all for me.
Bianca? Oh, she just dropped. I think that was a troll anyway. But I can't be too sure. We have Angel is a walk. We're going to try and get you up on the stage. Boom, I got you. But no, I love what Hotep Goldstein's, he's talking about this conservative X division, right? Because we had conservative Inc. and then like conservative Inc. split. And we even saw like the grifters were like, wait, do I support Trump or do I support DeSantis? And some grifters were waiting to see which way the wind blew before they picked a candidate to endorse, because they want to go where the money is, right? And Scott was talking about that before, about where the money is. So yeah, there's this new X division, as Hotep Goldstein would say, and
I'm gonna whoop Biden ass.
you said what?
I'm gonna whoop Biden ass if he win. I hate that nigga so much. Oh my god.
Oh, we got Street Politics with Talisia joining the chat. Let's see what she has to say about this whole debacle between so Street Politics, Talisia, welcome to the stage. What do you make of the situation happening with Crowder and his wife?
I would say he the hero and the villain. I would say he the hero because he get to expose the conservatives for the hypocritical things that they do, how they dig up people past, how they befriend people, how the conservative Inc. treat each other, how he mad at Daily Wire sent Candace the dog out to get him. He's the villain because he talked to his wife like trash. She's still a piece of shit. So he's both. So it's just like that's his wife and his business, but he have people that's around him that he probably told his business to that couldn't wait for the opportunity to expose them, because it seemed like when it came up, they had all the receipts ready to go. Like they already had the bullet in the gun, ready to shoot.
You saying they was holding on to the evidence for the right time?
Yeah. Mo- mo-
And you're go ahead.
Most definitely. Candace came up with a whole podcast, like right when it just, they, like he said, he tried to get ahead of the story because he knew they was about to come out. But see, it just goes to show that this is what they do. They eat each other. They eat each other alive. So he's the hero for exposing them for who they are. They favorite Candace for who she is, but they don't care. She docks everybody and she still gets away with it. He's the villain because, I mean, the way he was treating his wife, even though that is a little clip, but I mean, you can just tell what type of person he is. I mean, he treats his wife like shit, but that's his personal business. That's his divorce. That's his family. That ain't nothing for us to get into, because I'm dying to know about Candace's relationship with her husband, since she's in everybody else's business. Are y'all having sex? What are you doing? Because I mean, you in everybody else's business. Is you over there doing what you got to do with for your husband?
Oh my Lord, have mercy.
That's all I gotta say.
Oh my Lord, it done got personal quick. Sonny Johnson, is Candace Owens having sex with her husband? No, don't answer that. What's your thoughts about this Crowder situation, man?
I think is utterly ridiculous, and it shows you how unserious conservatives and Republicans are. Like, these are not fucking serious people. Over the last 3 months, they have been screwed every which way possible by their own party, right? And instead of acting like adults and putting themselves in a position to be able to actually do something and coming up in 2024, this is what the fuck they're talking about. And it just shows you these are unserious people, right? So the big thing the RNC rolls out is, for a campaign, we're gonna fact check Joe Biden. Everybody fucking knows he's a liar. Like, you don't need to do that. On top of that, they just put out Twitter notes, community notes and shit, so everybody can fact check in a fucking heartbeat. How much money did you fucking waste in that level of incompetence, not understanding the moment, where we are, what we're doing? And what the fuck is they talking about? What the fuck are they talking about? And this even shows you how rudderless they are, because they run it around talking about Christian nationalism and shit, and wanting that to be a concept. And now you got this coming out. You got the head of their education department at PragerU out there telling the men that it's okay to be to hook themselves on porn, and God would like it because he knows men like variety. So you look at all these fuckers that are leading these people talking about they're Christian conservatives, and then their masks come off. And you see what they really are. And you're like you are dealing with unserious people. This
Okay,
is fucking
let's unpack
ridiculous.
that, right? Because when I saw the crowded stuff on my line, it was about wife abuse. I didn't witness any wife abuse. I'm not about to be clicking through a million articles to try to find wife abuse. Um, but it seems what you're telling me is this is just some petty shit that we're giving too much energy to.
Yo,
Because that's really
yo,
ultimately that's what I want to know. Is
the
this something I
biggest
need to put
news,
energy into, or
the biggest news, biggest conservative news station in the country just fired the biggest conservative host on that station. And we're talking about fucking what now? Like, how many things need to happen before people start realizing? And if you go and you listen to what Tucker said, we fuck these conversations up. We don't talk about stuff that is real. We don't talk about stuff that is important. And he confessed how he has been a part of making that a reality
Okay.
for as long
Well, it
as
looks like
he's
Sky
been in
Adams left,
media.
so I'm gonna stop recording
So
now.
if you're getting that confession and then you're seeing this, why aren't you seeing this as big?
President on an independent ticket. He got us a lot of support and talked about demographic change and other things, which is so Europe's conversation on those issues is actually far.
All right. What do we got going on here? Fiat currency, trapped Americans in Sudan. They vote to remove him from the rest of the floor. Oh, yes.
If you disallow to have access to that.
Zoo Zypher. New York's gonna ban gas stoves. Anti-Semitism in New York goes unaddressed as monsters in support of the Jewish community. IRS planning to hire armed agents in all 50 states because they need to kill you. They need to make sure that they can kill you. FBI's war on religion. War on religion. Catholic group sues over their surveillance. We're all being survived on. This isn't new. New insane Oregon law to give homeless people the right to sue if they're being harassed. He's denied a gun license, but somehow got an intel clearance. The left is trying to destroy the Supreme Court because they can't control it. Bridal magazine features bearded hairy man. Tucker Carlson, all of cable news. California's massive snowpack will cause a lot of floods, apparently. I'd like to see it. Call kids persons who produce sperm/eggs. What? Cornell researchers debunk claims that females are victims of sexism. Huh. Debunked. We're pulling up some more articles. Pfizer silently funded nonprofit Chicago Urban League. Florida man Friday. What did he do? Can a 50-year-old treaty still keep the world safe from the changing threat of... All right, we're back. We're live. Let's see here. I know about this bill. Ricada read it last night on the stream. Orono said what we should do. Yes. Well, at least they admit it. There we go. Can't have people talking. It's just so distracting. Stronger! What the fuck? We're still shopping for articles for tonight's live stream. Actually, Disney's lawsuits against DeSantis is really troubling. Actually, it's a shitty lawsuit. It's not really troubling. It's a bad one. What the hell is this article? This is terrible articles, man. Republicans are seizing up in arms over Biden cheat sheet. For weeks, TikTok, CNN asked if debating is like debating murder. Gender affirming doc killed in trans pushing Law and Order episode. Oh. Predictive programming in its finest. attacked, humiliates. Roasted by judge. Matchgate gets threatens America. Exposes Fox News.
At 2 Men and a Truck, we'll treat you and your belongings like we'd treat our own grandmas.
Here we go! Hi there. Hello there. Welcome.
Whether we're moving you across town or even across the country.
Wednesday was former First Lady Melania Trump's 53rd birthday. But you wouldn't know that by following Donald Trump to be there at the birthday different single time. We all know, and he even offered. At least Jimmy Kimmel acknowledged it. At least Jimmy Kimmel stepped up. They put effort into. So that's not exactly what, I mean, look, I've got a wife. I understand when it's her birthday, you've got to at least acknowledge it. And if you're not going to acknowledge it on social media, then you at least have to be there at the birthday party. And it's not even that you have to, it's that you should want to. You should be the one throwing the birthday party, honestly. But Trump didn't do any of that. Not a bit. He didn't acknowledge his own wife's birthday. And by the way, it's not like he wasn't on social media all day. He sent out 15 different posts on Truth Social attacking E. Jean Carroll.
All right, this is a stupid topic. I'm sorry to even brought it up. Supreme Court corruption caught red-handed. Slams Biden with AI-generated ad.
We have more Supreme Court. All right, so we got some interesting stuff to talk about today, Crystal. You know, we were chomping at the bit to get to this one.
Oh yeah.
We listened to this.
Imagine.
So without further ado, I'll reveal that I am Team Pancakes all the way.
And I am firmly on Team Waffles. I mean, come on, they're clearly the superior choice with their perfect little compartments for all the deliciousness.
See, that's where you're wrong. Pancakes are versatile, they're fluffy, and they absorb the syrup like a dream. You can't beat that.
I think you're forgetting about the delightful.
Man fleeing from U.S. pretends to be British. Trouter got divorced. That's funny. Let's go laugh at him.
Steven Crowder
What is going on?
He's a divorced dad.
I've been living through what has increasingly been a horrendous divorce. Now, let me say on the outset, to be clear, there is no infidelity, any kind of physical abuse at all on either side. And no, this was not my choice. My then wife decided that she didn't want to be married anymore. And in the state of Texas, that is completely permitted. It's been the most heartbreaking experience of my life, what I consider to be my deepest personal failure. And
stuff like this. I am
infidelity, any kind of physical abuse at all on either side. And no, this was not my choice. My then wife decided that she didn't want to be married anymore. And in the state of Texas, that is completely permitted.
Oh, yeah, it's just completely permitted in the state of Texas. Like, what the fuck do you mean, dog? You want it to be like, what, enforced at gunpoint? It's so crazy. It's actually fucking insane that, like, he implies that, dude. Like, what the fuck? Oh, no. Math jokes, pentagon, hexagon, octagon. My wife is gone. Oh, no. Oh, no. He expressed frustration that even if only she wanted the divorce, it can still go through. That's actually so fucking gross. Yeah, I mean, he just literally thinks like, oh, the old ball and chain, right? Am I right? As in like literally, I want a ball and chain. Like, why can't I fucking ball and chain my goddamn wife? Pretty funny, yeah. Steven Crowder stating over and over again that he's mad that his wife isn't legally obligated to stay with him is so fucking funny. The whole video seems like it would be on cinema at the cinema bit. Sam Cedars.
I want to say, just for the record, I had nothing to do with this.
Oh,
I've never met the former Mrs. Crowder. That it wasn't like, I don't know if she saw what happened when Stephen came on there. Maybe I would imagine, sure, it wasn't my intention.
Or not even, because that's what he believes.
My wife. And it also, by the way, makes me that much more appreciative of those who did know about this and in understanding the best interests of my family, my children, any public.
She's
a cease and desist, and I'm going to demand a full-throated retraction to the idea that Candace Owens threatened him or extorted him, and not that I simply did a little math. 1 + 1 = 2.
Interesting. Steven Crowder, I'm getting reports that Steven Crowder tweeted this while they were in the process of divorce. Very interesting that he tweeted this at during the divorce proceedings.
Crazy man doing these sorts of things.
A reminder based on the article explains that if you grew up in the coal mining region, country up among major region deniers, and will that city council in cities.
Ah, these cats. Why do they always have to be clawing on my door? Rainn Wilson?
We should note that during our conversation, Kennedy made false claims about the COVID-19 vaccines. Data shows that the COVID-19 vaccines prevented millions of hospitalizations and deaths from the disease. He also made misleading claims about the relationship between vaccination and autism. Research shows that vaccines and the ingredients used for the vaccines do not cause autism, including multiple studies involving more than 1 million children, and major medical associations like the American Academy of Pediatrics and the advocacy group Autism Speaks. We've used our editorial judgment and not including extended portions of that exchange in our
Wow. Wow.
Around the globe, an example.
We should note that during our conversation
around the globe, an exemplary nation, and that has a booming middle class in this country that can sustain democracy.
Mic check. ABC News takes a moment to explain why they didn't air parts of the RFK Jr. interview. He's a leading candidate, second place behind Joe Biden. 19% of people saying they would primaries vote for him. It's kind of an important figure. We should hear his thoughts on things so the public can figure out if he's a quack or not. But instead, ABC News has to act as a middleman between the direct source and what information he's putting out and the public. They have to be a censor, if you will. They literally censor him.
Around the globe, an exemplary nation, and that has a booming middle class in this country that can sustain democracy.
We should note that during our conversation, Kennedy made false claims about the COVID-19 vaccines. Data shows that the COVID-19 vaccines prevented millions of hospitalizations and deaths from the disease. He also made misleading claims about the relationship between vaccination and autism. Research shows that vaccines and the ingredients used for the vaccines do not cause autism, including multiple studies involving more than 1 million children and major medical associations like the American Academy of Pediatrics and the Advocacy.
This is crazy.
Autism Speaks. We've used our editorial judgment and not including extended portions of that exchange.
We are editors, we are censors. We are going to use our editorial judgment to remove parts from... Listen, we think you, the public, you're too stupid to handle it. If you see him say anything, you will just believe it instantly. Well, more like that's the type of audience they've catered. The audience of ABC are not critical thinkers, if you will. If they actually put up some guy saying a conspiracy theory, there is a non-zero percentage of their viewership who will believe it, and so they literally can't show the conspiracy, the truth, if you will, because it will convert people. So they have to censor him. This is stunning, man. This is absolutely stunning. Insanity. They fear the truth. We silenced presidential candidates if we disagree with their positions. ABC. Are they going to do it during a presidential debate? If Fox or Biden start saying something false, they're going to turn black and say, oh, the presidents are saying something false. Here at Pfizer, we're bringing you this debate. Nothing says safe like censoring all dissenting opinions. Why are they fearing it? What are they afraid it's going to happen? They don't actually care if people die. They just want to make... It's the advertisers. They're afraid Pfizer is going to pull advertisements or just come down on them. It's always been about the money. Think about it, guys.
Is brought to you by Pfizer.
CBS Health Watch sponsored by Pfizer.
Anderson Cooper 360. Brought to you by Pfizer.
ABC News Nightline. Brought to you by Pfizer. Making a difference. Brought to you by Pfizer.
CNN Tonight. Brought to you by Pfizer. Early Start. Brought to you by Pfizer. Friday night on Aaron Burnett Out Front. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This Week with George Stephanopoulos is brought to you by
Pfizer.
This weather report brought to you by Pfizer.
Today's countdown to the royal wedding is brought to you by
Pfizer.
And now a CBS Sports Update brought to you by Pfizer.
Meet the Press Data Download brought to you by Pfizer.
This portion of CBS This Morning sponsored by Pfizer.
On how to find the hidden sugars in the American family diet. Sponsored by Pfizer.
We can play that all day.
And yeah, you should be questioning the news media, sponsored by Pfizer, why they're censoring people calling out Pfizer. It's obvious that these vaccines and all this misinformation, it wasn't what they said it was. If you guys like this type of content, leave a like down below, subscribe, and share with your friends. Radically Moderate out of here. Oh, top news show. Ron DeSantis has been doing a couple of good things in his state of Florida, but this recent bill he has passed is really disappointing, and it just screams neocon who just bows to Israel endlessly, needlessly, without questioning. It makes me question his loyalty. Who is he really loyal to? America or to other people? Florida passes harshest hate crime bill in America harshest to combat anti-Semitism. Governor Ron DeSantis signs bill in Israel. Why do you got to sign it in Israel? Sign it in America. Who is he trying to appease with this bill? Is it Americans? Then why don't you sign it in America? The free state of Florida is on the cusp of having the most oppressive hate crime laws in America in order to combat anti-Semitism. Israel applauds the passing of HB 269, important step of combating anti-Semitism. Of course, I think they define Nazis, take note, you're done in Florida. Probably not. Honestly, probably not. I really don't know how this law is constitutional at all. We're going to have to see how these hate speech laws... ACLU is going to have to come out and defend the Nazis again here, because these hate speech laws... It's not always the right-wingers who are coming after the Juden. Let's see this video.
Holding people accountable without, violating their free speech.
Sure. And again, I would remind you that there's no First Amendment right to conduct. There's a First Amendment right to speech, and the things that we're targeting in the bill are not speech. Again, if someone wants to stand across the street from my house and wave the sign on the sidewalk, they have every right to do that, and this bill won't have anything to do with that. But when it veers into conduct, and so the way we're going to approach this is through a hate crime kicker. So if you graffiti a building, it is a crime now. But if your motivation is hate, it will be a third-degree felony. You will spend 5 years in prison. If you want to litter, it's a crime right now. But if you litter and if your motivation is a hate crime, it will be a third-degree felony. You will spend 5 years in jail.
Wow.
Crime right now to hang banners from an interstate. For obvious reasons, we don't want to distract drivers. But if you do that and you have a hate crime, a hate motivation, it will be a third-degree felony. You will spend 5 years in jail.
That is insane. How can you read somebody's mind? How can you read somebody's mind? They're going to say the same thing about people flying COVID misinformation. They're going to say that's hate speech. They're going to say, oh, you're pro-life. That's hateful against people seeking abortions. This is absolutely nuts.
How optimistic are you of moving this bill along?
I guarantee the bill will pass. And I never do that.
This is awful. This is terrible. Penalty for having the wrong opinion, third-degree felony, 5 years in jail.
A segment of my population was targeted for their religion. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to stand for people to be targeted for their religion, for their race, for their sexual orientation, or ethnic background. I'm not going to stand for it.
You have supported a proposed law there that would actually make anti-Semitic incidents, so things like we just saw, a felony. Talk to me about the law specifically, why you support it, and does it have a shot of becoming law?
Yeah, it's House Bill 269. I expect it should be signed sometime this week, and it enhances penalties for what you just saw. If you go on private property, which is what we're seeing, and you drop off hateful literature targeting someone for their religion, it's a felony. If you use a projector to shine hateful messages on the side of private property, it's a felony. If you get up in somebody's face with a bullhorn and you start screaming anti-Semitic remarks to them, it's a felony.
But if you say end whiteness, it's not a felony because one group of people are more important than the other.
Felony stalking. So we're really looking forward to this.
Because some people are above us. Some people are more important and deserve to be protected. And the rest of us sheep, it doesn't matter to. It doesn't matter what happens to us. Am I reading this right? If 269 passed, someone who makes fun of a person's clothes, if they're considered to be ethnic or religious, can be arrested and charged of a third-degree felony and hate crime. So if you think someone looks stupid in their clothes, you can make fun of a priest's clothes, but not a rabbi's clothes. That's what's going on here. Makes anti-Semitism a hate crime. If we do nothing, we're going to have 1933 Germany all over again. beg to differ.
Hello, I'm here with Representative Mike Caruso from Palm Beach. And where exactly in Palm Beach is it?
District 87. It runs from Manalapan all the way to Jupiter.
All right, awesome. And Representative Caruso, you have introduced a bill. We're here at the Republican Jewish Coalition's DeSantis and Ben Shapiro event. You have introduced a bill.
DeSantis Ben Shapiro event.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, it's 269. What it does is it makes acts of anti-Semitism a hate crime, and it's something that we were called to speak out. We were called to stand up for the.
Okay, I can't listen. This will just drive me crazy. This would just drive me crazy. The bill's pass comes a day before he's set to arrive in Israel. Yep, because he cares about God's chosen people more than his own constituents in Florida. If history is any guide, Florida governor could use part of his speech at the Museum of Tolerance, Jerusalem, to promote the bill, and perhaps even ceremonial signing it into law, as he did so well to do. GOP insiders in Florida suspect DeSantis, who plans trip. Okay. Anybody talking about this bill being unconstitutional, please. Hate crimes based on religious or ethnic animus is now punishable by third-degree felony. Florida is saying no to hate. So what does the ADL say about this? ADL, we applaud the leadership of Caruso as well as Ron DeSantis for signing it. Florida is where free speech goes to die, with the backing by the ADL. If the ADL is supporting what you're doing, you're not doing a good thing. Seriously. This is very sad. This is a sad day for Ron DeSantis. He's shown his true colors. But you know what? We should actually be thankful, because now we know who he really is. We should thank people when they tell us who they really are. If you guys like this type of content, please leave a like down below, subscribe, share with your friends. EU's Vera Jourova says she's uncomfortable on Twitter, wants more censorship. You can do that on Twitter. There's the block button. You can set it up so that you can filter specific keywords. Any tweet containing the words N or J or whatever words offend you, you can filter them and you won't see them anymore. And I was just like, what's the problem here? So it's not so much that you're fine with Twitter the way, because you can block stuff, right? We all understand that you can block. So that's not good enough for you though. The way Twitter currently is not good enough, because other people are still speaking to each other and you don't like that. It's not enough for you. In your mind, you're like, I shouldn't be seeing this post, and no one else should see it either. It needs to be taken down. And that's what she wants here. But just tweets that she politically disagrees with are inconvenient to her. The vice president of the EU said that she is more and more uncomfortable on Twitter because of what she said was the rise of Russian propaganda. She said that Twitter was likely to violate upcoming censorship law once enforcement begins later this year, because the unregulated Russian aggressive propaganda, which there's no real definition of Russian propaganda, is anything that makes Russia look good, even if it's the truth. If there's something true, like if we accidentally kill a million Ukrainians, if the United States accidentally kills a million Ukrainians, truthfully, if that really happens, we can't talk about it because that would be Russian propaganda. Seriously, that's kind of what they're saying here. Anything that makes Russia look good, even if it's true, is Russian propaganda and must be hidden from the people. Oh, you're trying to demoralize the war effort? You're trying to demoralize the war effort? Wait, what are you, pro-Putin? You Putin puppet? The DSA requires platforms to remove harmful content or risk heavy fines. Jourova said that employees who were fired by Elon Musk took over October meant staff responsible for moderation was fired. That's not true at all. There's still content moderation staff. We're already disappointed by the data they delivered in January, and of course we were watching what they're doing with the capacity left. She tweeted she felt Twitter is already short of its commitments to the anti-disinformation code. Anti-disinformation. Guys, I'm an expert in anti-disinformation. So, disinformation's a negative, anti's a negative, so really it's just anti-disinformation is just information. I'm an expert in information. Because that would be the same thing as the expert in disinformation. I'm sorry, I'm just playing around here. To me, this is a signal that they're falling short of the committed to do. I would compare the situation of driving on a highway. You're driving on a highway, overstepping the speed, you get a penalty, and then one day you might be deprived of your driving license. She insisted that the platform should intensify their work against Russian propaganda. There is still space for dialogue. No, there isn't. You're calling any dialogue propaganda. I would really want to explain to Elon Musk our philosophy that we are protectors of freedom of speech. Just not Russian speech. The Russians aren't allowed speech. They have nothing at all viable to say. Anything that's pro-Russia, censor it. Russian speech, genocide it. But freedom of speech in the EU is not unlimited. There you go, guys. This is from the Reclaim the Internet. If you'd like to tip our article content, leave a like down below. Subscribe, share for friends. Radically Moderate out of here. Our favorite brand ruiner is back once again. Mulvaney breaks science over Bud Light backlash. I'm doing okay. Nobody asked. Go back to being silent. Go away. Shut up. If anything, you know what you should do? You should come out and say, I'm actually a man. You've all been getting punked. Punked, suckers. We don't need to watch the original video. These never play.
It's day 356 of being a girl, and I am living at the plaza. It's day 9,610 of being a human, and I'm going to try to leave gender out of this since that's how we found ourselves here. I've been offline for a few weeks, and a lot has been said about me, some of which is so far from my truth.
How about you start talking like a human?
Hearing my name, and I didn't even know who they were talking about sometimes. It's a very disassociative feeling. And it was so loud that I didn't even feel part of the conversation. So I decided to take the back seat and just let them tucker themselves out. But then I remembered that nearly 13 million people at some point enjoyed me enough to hit the follow button on these apps. And I was like, wait. I want to talk to those people. So hi, long time no talk. How are you? You might want to grab a beverage. This is going to be a longer one. But I'm doing okay. And I'm trying this new thing where I don't pressure myself to share anything before I'm ready. And I'm actually sitting with my emotions, not reacting, waiting to respond. And shockingly, I can't recommend it more. Therapy is paying off here, people. But I do have some thoughts to share with you.
Oh my God, kill me.
So I've been having crazy deja vu because I'm an adult, I'm 26. And throughout childhood, I was called too
molested.
feminine and
what?
over the top. And here I am now being called all those same things, but this time it's from other adults. And if they're going to accuse me of anything, it should be that I'm a theater person and that I'm camp, but this is just my personality, and it always has been. What I'm struggling with most is that I grew up in a conservative family, and I'm extremely privileged because they still love me very much. And I grew up in the church, and I still have my faith, which I am really trying to hold on to right now.
What?
But I've always tried.
None of this makes any sense. This is just a maelstrom of chaos.
And I think it's okay to be frustrated with someone or confused. But what I'm struggling to understand is the need to dehumanize and to be cruel. I don't think that's right. You know, dehumanization has never fixed anything in history ever.
You're mocking women.
You know, I'm embarrassed to even tell you this, but
I'm embarrassed to have to watch this.
That you were going to start believing those things that they were saying about me, since it is so.
That you're a man? Yeah, I believe it.
I'm just going to go ahead and trust that the people who know me and my heart won't listen to that noise.
They won't listen to that noise.
What I'm interested in is getting back to making people laugh.
At you?
And to never stop learning. And going forward, I want to share parts of myself on here that have nothing to do with my identity. And I'm hoping those parts will still be exciting to you and will be enough. And to those of you who support me and choose to see my humanity, even if you don't fully understand or relate to me, thank you. And I don't know if reincarnation is a thing, but in my next life, I would love to be someone non-confrontational and uncontroversial. God, that sounds nice. The good news is
you made yourself a brand ambassador.
Because there's clearly no way of winning over everyone. But if you're still around, I am too.
You're an attention whore.
And I hope you're having a great week. And I missed you. Okay, talk soon. Love you.
God help us all. Please, God, do something with this. God help us. She, they. God help us all. So, Dylan Mulvaney has received a wave of support and a ton of backlash. Reflecting on the anti-trans vitriol, Mulvaney said, "I always try to love everyone, even the people who make it really hard." I'm amazed by her ability to say stuff despite the overwhelming hate directed at him. 26 years old, despite 3 weeks face off fails from her head, still carries up amazing grace. I feel simultaneously both feel for her all the hate and BS she's getting, yet impressed at how well he's handling all this and saying so positive. I don't know how he does it, one fan wrote. I love him so effing much. Same effing thing here. Women, Western women are to blame for this. That's the people who support this and like this. Women. Fucking women, guys. What do we do with them? How do we handle the women problem? As for this thing, I hope it crawls under a rock and we never see it again. I thought we could file this under the funny news category. Lesbian dating app Her tells transphobic users to delete their accounts. What? What is this? What's going? I haven't even read the article, but I already can imagine what it's about. Men who are calling themselves women are going on Her dating app made only for women and are trying to date the women who are lesbians, who want to date other women. These snakes. Leave the women alone. You creeps. You are creepy. A lesbian dating app has told transphobic users to delete it from their phones after a pylon resulted in the app's Twitter account being temporarily suspended. Her, an inclusive dating app, which is a user base of 10 million users, was deplatformed on Twitter on Lesbian Visibility Day for hitting back at transphobes. Throughout the day, the app's social media team has been responding to an onslaught of violent messages from activists who took issue with the fact that Her welcomes trans and non-binary lesbians. They said anti-trans bigots reported the app's Twitter account in droves, and Twitter issued a temporary suspension. It has since been restored. The pylon came after the app released a blog post celebrating Lesbian Visibility Day and described how it is reclaiming lesbian from the clutches of TERFs and bigots who tried to hijack at the fuel of their transphobia and hatred. The CEO, Robin Ext, I don't know what that even means. Robin Exton? Yeah, those are two new words I haven't seen before. Explained that the app, in being inclusive space, is nothing new. Her has always been a platform for trans women. Dudes! It's always dudes. For non-binary people, and for anyone who identifies as a woman. So it's kind of absurd that we're now getting this kind of vitriol coming. What if people who just straight up identify as men, who aren't even trying, and they just want to hook up with ladies, are they allowed on the app? Who isn't allowed on your app now? It's just everyone's allowed, really. What about gay men? Is it just Grindr now? Her doubling down on trans support, despite heightened attention on social media. Exton said Her is not slowing down in support of trans user community. We're certainly not slowing down. I'd say we're probably doubling down as TERFs want to pick up and try to question our position. I think we're using this time trying to make our position exceptionally clear. Since Elon Musk took over Twitter, the platform has seen a rise in hate speech. No citation. No citation, guys. Look, the lies in the omission. That statement's a lie. There's no citation. It's just their opinion. And their opinion is as valid as my opinion. And my opinion is that the statement's a lie. So they're lying. Early in April, social media platforms quietly dropping long-standing policy protecting transgender people from dead naming misgendering. Oh no. Oh, you mean they're removing their special privileges, so they're just like the average person who can be bullied when they change their names too. When you legally change your name, people can still call you by your old name on Twitter. Dead naming is a privilege where you're not allowed to name trans people their old names. That's a privilege only trans people had. Dead naming. You know, Jack Black, there's lots of other actors who changed their name. Is it dead naming them when we say them by their old names? Let's see here. In April, the move to remove the policy described by the LGBT plus community GLAAD as the latest example of just how unsafe the company is for users and advertisers alike. Advertisers. They just trying to take down, your politics are bad, your business needs to fail. Even if your business is useful to society. So, we completely spun this into Twitter. So, yes, lesbian Her dating app is now full. You have to S the deeb. You have to suck the cock, bigot. If you're a woman, if you're a lesbian woman, you have to suck the cock. Otherwise, you're transphobic. Amazing. Yeah, you're right. Just learn who you're not allowed to criticize. If you guys like this type of content, leave a like down below. Subscribe, share with your friends. Radically Moderate out of here. Hey, how's it going, Guy Incognito and just me, dude? I haven't seen you guys before. I'm kind of new to streaming on Rumble. But welcome aboard. Glad to have you guys here. Maybe consider pressing like. You could be so kind to. So, here we have another fake news article from Pink News. Let's laugh at it all together. Kansas's new anti-trans bill is so extreme, some cis women could be banned from toilets. Does anyone believe it? Does anyone really believe this? Come on. That would be hilarious. I can't use the toilet anymore. Lawmakers in the state overturned a previous veto by Governor Laura Kelly, who has continually spoken out against anti-trans legislation. SB 180, entitled the Women's Bill of Rights, bans trans and intersex women from toilets, changing rooms, prison facilities that align with their gender, as well as barring trans women from accessing domestic abuse shelters and rape crisis centers. Yes. Keep men out of rape centers. This seems fairly obvious, non-controvertible, but to the rapists, this is terrible news. To rapists, any laws punishing rape is bad. To rapists, laws keeping men out of women's sex shelters is terrible. So let's see how Pink News reacts to this. Let's just be honest here. Pink News is pro-rape. Someone, please leave a comment down below saying how I'm wrong here. The legislation has been criticized as legally erasing trans people by stating an individual's sex, meaning individual's sex at birth, is either male or female, which is, we are biologically dimorphic. It's like 99.99% of people are going to fall into that XXXY chromosome category. Anything else is an abnormality, and we don't change all of society for the exception to the rule. The definition outlined in the bill also state that a female is a person who produces ova. In other words, eggs, meaning cis women who are infertile and are unable to produce eggs could be barred from spaces under legislation's legal terms. Really? Does anyone buy that for a second? This fake hysteria needs to stop. I wish we could have a real, honest, mature conversation about these issues. But you have these sophists who will lie to you about your face, about what the bill is going to do. Oh, some women will be barred. How? How are they going to enforce that? You have a passing biological woman going into the bathroom. Nobody knows if she's infertile or not. There's no way to check. Unless you're proposing some mechanism of checking. No one's proposing checking. We know. This is to stop people with cock and balls from trying to say that they're a woman. You're not a woman if you can produce sperm. Full stop. I'm sorry. Transphobic AF over here. I'll die on the hill of that one. The bill was passed 84-40 in the House, and subsequently 28-12 in the Senate. It is now expected to take law July 1st. Awesome. Republicans quizzed over genital inspections. Republican Representative Brenda, it's about passing. That's what it's really about. If you're a trans person and you actually look like a woman, like Blair White does, no one's going to care if you use the woman's locker room or bathroom. Okay? No one will really care. And try to keep it all to yourself. Try to be contained. Don't let anybody see your dingleberries. Hold on. Where was I? Yes, there's going to be no genital inspections. The people are trying to fearmonger you. They actually probably want that. They'd probably like it. Really? Let's be honest here. The people who are trying to go into different bathrooms than they're assigned one at birth, they'd probably want to be inspected. They'd probably get off on that. They'd feel euphoria. Brenda Landwehr, who carried the bill in the House, said, What's the rights of a woman? For 50 years, women have fought for rights. The right to vote, the right to drive. They can try. Hey, Alan. Let's see here. The right to drive. Now, Now we're being told today that women's rights don't matter. Little girls should not have to be exposed to a man in the female bathroom. Blasting the administration of the bill, Democrat Heather Mayer quizzed Republican lawmakers. Are you going to check the genitals of every trans child who walks into the West? See how they always have to hide behind children, too. Or maybe just children in general, so you can figure out who's a male and who's a female biologically. No, we can tell who the boys are, okay? Taking to Twitter, Governor Kelly said she was disappointed lawmakers want to force extremist legislation through. I promise, Kansas, I'd govern from the middle of the road, and I'd serve as a check on legislation that's too extreme one way or the other. I'm disappointed some legislators are eager to force through extremist legislation that will hurt our economy and tarnish our reputation as a free state. I strive every day to make Kansas a place where more people want to work and raise a family. Well, I think your legislation is doing that even better. I want to raise my family in a place where I know creeps won't be in my female daughter's bathroom. Am I going to get harassed for that? Ooh, what's going on here? Ooh, how scary. Speaking on Associated Press, a 20-year-old transgender University of Canada student, Jonathan Bellamere, aired his concerns about the bill. He said, "When I go out in public, like I'm at a restaurant or up on campus or whatever, and I need to use the bathroom, there's definitely going to be a voice in my head that says, am I going to get harassed for that? It just makes it so much more complicated and risky and unnecessarily difficult." Another trans person at University of Kansas, a 19-year-old Adam Kellogg, told AP that the law will impact cis women as much as trans women. No, it won't. It will not infect a single cis woman at all. You wish it did. You sick freaks wish it did. It doesn't. Trans activists just coming down on women like this. Oh, it will affect women. Nah, how? How will it affect women at all? You can't. Tomboys. You're coming to protect tomboys now after you guys have been trying to drug up and castrate the tomboys forever? As a tomboy enthusiast myself here, I think they're beautiful. They need to be protected and cherished. And you shouldn't be trying to pump them full of puberty blocking drugs and doing top and bottom surgeries on them. Leave the tomboys alone, you creeps. Don't act like you're trying to protect them. You guys are the ones mutilating them. Tomboys, people who really aren't that into femininity as a woman, they can't freely express themselves without being worried they're going to be called out and removed from spaces that they rightly belong to. No, it won't happen one bit at all. The tomboys will be fine. It's going to stop broad-shouldered ladies from coming in the back. The tomboys are safe. We're trying to protect the tomboys from people like you, Adam. God, Adam, what? Ooh. Opposing the law, Mika Kubik, the director of the ACLU Union, Kansas, said the bill's lack of clarity is by design. It allows them to disclaim the worst possible interpretation while allowing for the worst possible outcome to happen, said the executive. The passage of the bill in Kansas is part of a nationwide attack on trans rights, which don't exist, which has swept across the nation in every state. Good. So far in 2023, 500 anti-trans bills have been tabled since to seek to exclude trans people from public life. Good. Using facilities aligning for gender, taking part in sport, and actually gender-affirming healthcare. Good. We have to stop the mutilation and stop the abuse. For their own protection, we must end all of that now. If you guys like this type of content, leave a like, download, subscribe, share with your friends. What's one of the... Tomboy, you mean every country girl? Yes, Alan. I had a little sister. You could say that she was a tomboy, I guess, because she liked playing with the farm animals, and she was into country stuff, and not like wasn't into pop music or idols so much. And I fear that in today, modern day and age, they maybe would have tried to have done stuff to my sister, made her chemically castrate her. It's so crazy. All right, I need to end this video segment right now because I'm going crazy. If you guys like this content, like down below, subscribe, share with your friends. Radically Moderate out of here. Daily live streams. Oh, I got 6 people watching now on Rumble. Wow, that's a record. Let's keep going. Probably have to ignore that. I just jinxed myself. Bye. Okay, we're gonna go check out this new Oregon law. I got a couple articles talking about it. Let's see here. Bud Light, Oregon law. Disinformation experts. Okay, I think we'll go back into this. Did I already cover this video? Did I already cover this one too? No. So you don't want kids. All right, so those are NPR articles where they're going after having children. And then Montana bans that freak from talking. Oh yeah, so this is the gaslighting, guys. Here we have the Intelligencer. I'm documenting it so we all don't go crazy. This is proof of the gaslighting right here. New York may become the first state to ban gas in new buildings. They told us, we're not coming after your gas stoves. And a month later, now it's, yeah, we're coming after your gas stoves, and it's a good thing. The way it always happens. We're not doing X, and a period of time later, we're doing X, and it's a good thing. And you should be thanking us. We've always been doing X. On Thursday evening, Governor Kathy Hochul announced that a legislation in Albany that would come as a conceptual agreement on a major aspects of the state budget, which includes provisions to cut the gas in nearly all constructed buildings. Where's the billion? That's supposed to be $1 billion. The 229 budget deal, I don't know if that's million, budget, billion, would increase funding for the MTA, gradually raise the minimum wage to $17 over 3 years, and alter the state's bail law to allow judges more discretion in setting bail for certain crimes, among other items. Left out of the agreement were several of the governor's big wants, including removing the city's cap on charter schools, her ambitious plan to build 800,000 new homes across the state. Well, that'd be kind of cool. Good luck trying to build anything in New York, though. Let's see here. But what the framework does include is an environmental provision that, if passed, will require all new construction in the state to meet a zero-emission standard, banning the use of oil and natural gas in these homes. That's retarded. These homes are still not zero emission. You're still going to have to heat these homes using electricity. This is so stupid. Guess where the electricity is going to come from? Oil and gas power plants. We're adding a middleman in here to complicate things and drive up costs and to control you, really. Control you. My parents lived out in the country, and they had a diesel furnace that they'd heat the home with. And then some guy would drive by like once every 3 weeks or a month or every 3 months and fill it up. And that's how we heat ourselves. And it could keep our house warm even when the power was off. But they want you to freeze to death, I guess. Environmentalists have been advocating for phasing out of gas hookups in homes as a way of cut carbon emissions fight against climate change. But that's not going to do anything for climate change, or because we're still going to be burning fossil fuels. It's so stupid. There are sheep who feel like they're doing something productive, and then there's the evil people at the top who are manipulating all of us. And I hate them so much right now. They also cite the studies that point health concerns over gas stoves of indoor air pollution. I've heard the same thing about candles, that lighting wax candles in your home can cause cancer. Are we going to start banning candles now too? Maybe we should ban candles before we ban gas stoves. No, we won't do that. coming after your can. They'll do it. In 2021, New York City Council passed a bill barring gas hookups in newly constructed buildings in the city. That'll take effect at the end of that year for buildings under 7-story talls, and for 2027 for buildings taller than that. So they're already cutting this in right now. Despite the backlash, severing gas line is an idea that has picked up momentum in recent years. Even on commercial side, Chipotle, the fast-growing Mexican casual chain, announced earlier this month that 100 of its new locations will be fully electric as part of its company-wide goal of decreasing carbon emissions by 2030. Lawmakers in Albany will still have to discuss the proposal and are expected to begin voting next week. Even if the gas ban gets the seal of approval, there'll still be some challenges to come. Berkeley, California had its 3-year-old gas prohibition in new buildings thrown out in court after challenges from the California Restaurant Association claimed that the ban went against federal law. Natural gas advocates reportedly planned to spend $4 million in an attempt to defeat the similar ban on the books in Eugene, Oregon. All right, let's continue with the next segment here. That article was a little meh. Okay, this is the one I wanted to talk about. Latest insane Oregon law would give homeless people the right to sue if they're harassed. And by harassed, I mean if they're taking a dump in your front yard and you tell them to stop every day, you're going to get in trouble for that. They're going to sue you. Imagine a world in which homeless people can legally pitch up tents adjacent to your home or on the sidewalk in front of your business, and if you insist they leave, they could sue you for harassment. My friends, you just entered the Oregon Zone. Or maybe you've seen the Oregon Zone's sister show, the California Zone. With commiseration for my conservative friends in both states in mind, I'm about to blister only the People's Democratic Republic of Oregon. This time, but meanwhile, in downtown Los Angeles. But I somewhat digress. Anyways, if you have half a brain in your head, riddle me this. If your state has had a 3-year net loss in population, your major cities overrun with homeless people and drug addicts, and soaring overdose deaths, violent crime and robbery, and hemorrhaging capital, declining property values in affected areas, what don't you do? You don't propose legislation to give homeless people the right to sue homeowners and businesses for harassment, for trying to get homeless people and their cabinets the hell away from their homes and off the sidewalk in front of their businesses. Yet, as Fox News report, that's exactly what Oregon Democrat strawmanners have proposed. Legislation that would decriminalize homeless camping, despite calls for help from residents already exacerbated by the homelessness crisis in the city. Here's more from Fox. The Oregon House Bill 3501, known as the Right to Rest Act, states that homeless individuals will have a privacy interest and a reasonable expectation of privacy in any property belonging to the person, regardless of whether the property is located in a public space. What if it's located on private property, though? The bill also allows homeless individuals to sue for up to $1,000 if they're harassed or told to relocate. The bill says that persons experiencing homelessness will be permitted to use public spaces in the same manner as any other person without discrimination based on their housing status. I mean, yes, in one way, yes, you are allowed to use the public transportation system if you're homeless. Sure. But you're not allowed to do day camping if you're homeless. No, day camping should still be illegal. And states that homeless individuals have the right to freely move about in public places without discrimination. The housing bill comes as homelessness in Oregon is spiked in 2022. Oregon Public Radio reported citizens, Portland, Oregon have sounded alarms about the negative impacts of homeless camps. So, what do you guys think? When are people gonna? They keep voting for these laws. It's like these middle class residents of Portland just hate themselves. I don't understand why they keep voting this way. We toss around words like ridiculous and insane regularity because there is so, you know what, let's change topics. One example is the college town of Oregon, where squatters living in RVs have been causing nightmares for residents in one neighborhood for 2 years. Eugene resident Lane Radcliffe told a local outlet earlier this month, "No one is legally supposed to be camping here. No one is supposed to be giving fellatio in the corner. No one is supposed to be shooting up heroin in plain sight. No one's supposed to be trespassing at our property." Yeah, man. I mean, especially if they're like ugly people doing the nasty, that'd be terrible. If you got kids, oh my God, I'd be fucking upset too. I'd crack some skulls, man. All right, I'd want to, but I'm afraid I'd get sued by these fucking homeless people. You better be careful, Miss Radcliffe, because if Democrats get their way, you might be scratching a check for $1,000 to one of the above homeless people. I want to add another line, but I've learned that it's sometimes best to break out. Okay. So anyways, if you like the type of content, leave a like down below, subscribe, share with your friends. Radically Moderate out of here. The live show continues. We have a whole bunch of articles. I have like 50 articles here, so I'm just trying to plow through them as fast as I can. Bridal magazine cover features hairy, bearded, biological male. Hey guys, this is Radically Moderate, and welcome to the Clown World episode show by Alex Parker. Look at this beautiful gentleman right here. He's probably got a deeper voice than me. Societies change, weddings change, brides change. For example, look no further than recent bridal spread on Facebook. English language publication Brides Today is dubbed India's premier couture, luxury, and bridal magazine. For its late April cover, the periodical went profoundly progressive. The new issue features Alok Vadmenon, described as a gender non-conforming trans feminine author, performance artist, poet, and comedian. Well, you got me laughing there. I mean, everything else about you is a joke, so why not be a comedian, I guess. In preparation for the big day, surely many too soon-to-be wives get waxed. Alok prefers an all-natural approach to look sharp. The artist resists razors. No. Hairier than me. How is that allowed?
If we truly believe that people should be kind of equal, if we truly believe that love is for all, then why not look at a bride who is a non-binary bride who could look into a same-sex basically marriage and be happy for
give us a warning
that person
first.
finding love.
Oh, God, help us. God, we need to yeet it into the sun. We need a fucking meteor right now. I wish I could I wish you guys would stop showing it to me.
For more informative videos like this.
This is awful. God damn. You look absolutely fabulous in these photographs the magazine offers in an interview. The bridal photos are far from typical, hence we turn to a typical non-traditional union. Marriage equality in India is necessary, Alok asserts, and the continued denial of its of it constitutes a form of discrimination. Discrimination can be deadly. Allah laments that transphobes are hunting the marginalized. They're literally killing us. Hold on. Oh, I'm not doing the voice right. I'm sorry. The reason LGBTI plus people are being hunted is because we have the audacity to embrace authenticity and autonomy in the world that prescribes conformity. I'm sorry. You guys are trying to make sure all of us conform to your radical acceptance of your creepiness. People have taken their own insecurities and project them onto us. If they were secure in themselves, they wouldn't seek to deny and disappear us. In other words, the continued discrimination against our community is an indication of the mental health struggle of our non-LGBTI peers. So, to be beleaguered, the Alphabet Alliance appears to procure impressive prominence. New transgender owner of Miss Universe celebrates an end to it may be run by men. New Victoria's Secret underwear angel is transgendered. Nearly 1 in 4 Democrats say men can get pregnant. Knitting group offers plush prosthetic penises transgender children can wash in their panties. Trans cheerleader allegedly strangles squad member after phobia inflames the man with a penis. Didn't we cover that today? Yeah, that one we covered this story earlier. No, that's actually not today. This is from 9 months ago. My bad. We did cover a story like that today. The bridal world isn't the only family space that have gotten a gender identity update. In May 2021, Practicing Midwife magazine spotlighted a new kind of birthing person. It's been a while since the 70s, but the beards are finally come back. You might have suspected they'd make their return on men, but contemporarily, a face flocked full of fur can be feminine. Can I even scroll down? I was scared to scroll down anymore because look at this. I was like, what is my head covering? What is this? The practicing midwife. God, barf. Ugh. So back to Alok. The non-binary bride has previously plunged into hot water, per New York Post. Some critics targeted a since-deleted Facebook post 2016 in which Alok allegedly said, little girls are also queer, trans, kinky, deviant, kind, mean, ugly, tremendous, and particular. Your kids aren't as straight and as narrow as you think they are in response to bans on transgender girls. Yeet it right into the sun. No. Stop right now. This guy, straight up, he's a pedophile. We have to get rid of him. He cannot be allowed in society. You can't say little girls are kinky and be allowed. He cannot be allowed anymore, you guys. I'm sorry, I'm on YouTube, so I'm trying to say things delicately, but what an absolute freak. Perhaps the trans feminine trendsetter has since transformed. Speaking of, whatever. We already know how this guy feels. I can't believe people are still, what's the word they say? Platforming this monster. If you guys like this type of content, leave a like down below. Subscribe, share with your friends. Radically Moderate out of here. Maybe we want to cover some of this fucking Crowder shit. We have a whole bunch of stories to talk about.
I commented on my ongoing divorce.
All right, everybody. So I'm going to try to cover the Crowder situation right now. So Crowder's going through a divorce. He released a statement saying how it's definitely not the kid's fault. and divorce sucks and all. And since then, I don't know who was it, but someone probably on his wife's side, his wife's legal team, somewhere around then, because I can't imagine Crowder would release it, released a video showing him and his wife having a fight, an argument, if you will. They weren't saying very nice things to each other. People are saying that he was being abusive to her. I could see how they'd say that. There's a lot. My main takeaway was that they were fighting about trying to get some groceries done, and they have one car. I'm confused here. Aren't the Crowders millionaires? Why can they not afford to have 2 cars? Can't they afford to have Uber deliver food to their house? Food delivery services are common. These people are well off enough. In fact, she's so famous, she shouldn't be going outside by herself alone without like an escort. As far as I'm concerned, that's not safe. So let's see what his statement says, though.
I commented on my ongoing divorce.
Sorry, I'm not scratching my cat clawed my nose right here, so I have a scab there that's kind of itchy. That's why I'm doing that.
On my ongoing divorce on Tuesday, requesting privacy in the best interest of the family, but also by court order agreed upon by all parties. Look, broken marriages are ugly, and in them people do ugly things. Myself, of course included, I would never claim otherwise. However, due to recent misleadingly edited leaks to the tabloid press without context and not subject to consequences of the court, well, if not privacy, the next best option is truth. So today, I have filed a motion to officially unseal all files as they relate to the matter of legal record. Finances, relevant medical records, including mental health history or evaluations, depositions, and any motions or sanctions from the courts of Texas. I will not be leaking private marital information to the press, but if the privacy agreements are not respected by all parties, I will address all that is a matter of irrefutable legal record in full context next week.
Where is the Daily Mail article? Broken marriages are ugly, and in them, people do ugly things. Political commentator Steven Crowder doubles down as he claims wife leaked edited video of his verbal abuse, now vows to release sealed mental health history. Can we play the video?
Respect, he said, then we're at an impasse. Stephen, no, we are at an impasse, okay? I love you, but Stephen, your abuse is sick. Your abuse Watch it. Is sick. Watch it. Fucking.
Now, in Steven's defense, I hate it when women talk like this. This is like a very much a Democrat thing. To just kind of just say, I hate it when you abuse me. And it's just like, it's kind of like, it's like, how long have you been beating your wife? It assumes facts aren't in evidence. It's kind of. She should, really, in my opinion, she should just say, don't do X. I don't like it when you do X. Because when you say abuse, it's just so vague. I don't know what that means. Is it abuse when he disagrees with you? Is he abuse when he punches you? So it's just, I want to take the side of the victim here. I know how people are. So I don't like it when they phrase things like, oh, could you just please stop abusing me? How about you say, will you please stop hitting me? And then I'll be like, oh my God, he's hitting her. That's obvious abuse. But when you say, please stop abusing me, I'm just like, I'm left wondering, what is the abuse? Just being mean to you, or disagreeing, or having like different plans for the way life should operate?
Watch it.
Telling her to watch it?
And I need some space. We need to just talk.
No, I agree. I fucking hate the way he talks to her, and I really don't like the argument they have, and it's very fucking gross. And it makes me feel icky and nasty. She's like fucking terribly pregnant. He needs to be going easy on her because she's her hormones, man. It's always been a meme that pregnant ladies can't control their hormones. So, my wife's main comments, my wife's takeaway from this were she had a miscarriage, then she's having twins. That's a lot of stress. So I could see how a divorce happened. I'm just wondering what really caused it. Twins is a very much a struggle. I saw a sociology teacher told me that most divorces happen when the second kid is born, because that's just so much extra workload from that like first kid to second kid causes a lot more just stress in the family as a general. So when you go from no kids to twins, that's a lot of stress then. Yeah, I wonder what happened. Maybe he's just an asshole. Maybe that's what it was the whole time. I need to slide this over here. I can't see my chat. The Ring camera footage. Oh, jeez. Here, I'm going to try to pull up the tweets, actually. Let's watch the whole thing. What a useless person. First, like, oh, they're on my Substack. You're trying to profit off of Steven Crowder's divorce. It's kind of really gross. Hey, look, I'm live on Twitter. Nobody's viewing me. So let's. Here it is.
You just did it. I drew a boundary and abusive. You were not taking the car. Because if you refuse to do wifely things, then I will go pick up the groceries.
There is no groceries. I'd be happy.
Steaks, wood pellets, my grill. I know it's an unreasonable request, but I'll go do it. How about you first? Hillary, how do you respect the man? Yeah.
It's painful, man. It's painful. Oof, man. He's at his home, man. He's probably. Oh, they're really being a dick to her, though. They say, like, if you're writing a letter to someone or email, pretend that a judge is going to read it, because they possibly will in the future. So imagine that your audience isn't the person you're writing a letter to, but a judge possibly reading it from, like, a negative point of view. So imagine all of this from, like, a judge watching this. Steven, you look like awful.
I'm a man. I see love of that. No. How did a man take it? No, you're not taking the car.
Steven,
you're not taking the car.
Steven,
you are not.
Then I will ask them to pick me up. Would you like me to ask?
Oh, that's right.
It's not a threat, Steven.
Get an Uber.
That's just super aggressive, too. Why are you saying stuff like, is that a threat? It's not a threat. Her saying that I'm going to take a car is not a threat. Why are you threatened by her taking a car somewhere, Steven? Jesus Christ.
Okay, Steven, I can't.
Feeling some constraints?
Steven.
Like, I can't
Steven.
go.
She's a pregnant woman. She has more constraints than you.
Listen to me. You want to walk out right now?
I'm sorry. I don't want to be jumping on Team Hillary all the time. I want to take it down the middle here, but it's hard.
Jim, I can't go to my parents. I can't call my friends. I can't be home. You're going to take the car and leave me here.
Millionaires can't afford 2 cars. I'm sorry here, guys. I have a truck. My wife has a Dodge Dart. We each have a motorcycle. And we each have a bicycle. And we make less than $100,000 a year combined. So how do these 2 people not have 2 vehicles? Really? Is he not letting them? Is he making sure that there's only 1 vehicle? Because that just screams like controlling. Is it their combined family plan to only have like 1 nice expensive sports car or something? I don't know. I'm curious why is there only 1 car?
Hillary, just think of how boxed in you've made me.
What do you need me to pick up? I'll get it. I'll be back when I'm back.
No, that doesn't work either. You'll be back when you're back. That doesn't work either. Do you understand the difference between my life being set to the second and you going, I'll be back when I'm back?
Stephen?
And making it work. Can you do that? The only way out of this is discipline and respect.
What the hell? Discipline and respect. I'm sorry, man. What the fuck, man? I wish she was saying some sort of crazy shit so I could go off on her. I'm trying to hate the woman, guys. Believe me, and it's. I want to hate her. I can't.
We're at an impact.
We are going to get passed.
Good. Because you can't have any discipline or respect.
Stephen.
Yeah. There you go. You throw your hand. You give up so easily.
I don't give up, Stephen.
Hillary,
Stephen?
you give up so easily. I just said the only way out of this is discipline and respect. He said, then we're at an impasse.
Stephen, no.
What the fuck? Dude, I'm sorry. He just did the fucking... He did the Amber Heard line where, like, two people are fighting and so one of them wants to leave. And the Amber Heard, the abuser, says, oh, you can't leave right now? You're just going to walk away? You're going to give up? It's so manipulative.
No, we are at an impasse, okay? I love you, but Stephen, Stephen, your niece is...
When Steven Crowder sounds like Amber Heard, that's a problem.
Watch it. Fucking watch it.
He sounds just like Amber Heard. I'm convinced now. Wow.
Just fucking baby for a little bit, okay? I love you.
Damn.
I don't love you. That's the big problem. I've never received love from you. And the fact is, when I go, look, I need you to do A, B, C, and D, just be disciplined about it, you go, no.
Why would you say I don't love you to somebody who you're married to? That's just so fucking crazy.
Love you more than life itself. Okay. Put on some gloves. No. But I love you more than life itself. That's not fair. That's not fair, and it's disingenuous.
The whole gloves thing refers to Steven Crowder's dog needs medicine fed to it. That's not supposed to be handled by pregnant women. Rather than feed the medicine himself to his dog, he's like, wifey, you need to make sure you put on gloves when you give the medicine to the dog. Okay. I'm going to wrap up this segment now. If you guys like this type of content, leave a like down below. Subscribe, share with your friends. Radically Moderate out of here. Oh, God. Fucking Crowder. Why do you do this to me, Crowder? Let's jump. I have a whole bunch of more articles to get into. And maybe some video clips. Top news show. We got the readout. Yes. The readout is here. My favorite dumpster fire.
Tonight on the readout.
Give me a name. Give me a
White
name.
supremacists and
Who would
white
you like me to condemn?
White supremacists and right
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
Oh, that means everybody's guilty of everything that happened on January 6th because Trump said something. What a ridiculous statement these Democrats make. They think you're stupid. The sad part is it works on half the country because they are stupid.
As we await a verdict in the Proud Boys trial, how January 6th continues to be a drag on the Republican Party as their likely nominee, Donald Trump, continues to quite literally embrace insurrectionists. Also tonight, the sorry state of the right-wing Supreme Court majority and the questions their actions raise about the credibility of the court. And actor and comedian John Leguizamo will be here, right here on set with me to discuss his new series, Leguizamo Does America. Very, very excited about that. But we begin tonight still awaiting a verdict in the trial of 5 members of the far-right extremist group, the Proud Boys.
If you guys have been following this trial, you would know that we've learned that there's over 35 undercover feds, federal informants, who were known, or at least known by now at this point to the defense, to be there on January 6th. But this piece of crap would lie to you and believe you that that's not true and that's never happened.
For their role in the violent attack on the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. All 5, including the group's former leader, Enrique Tarrio, are charged with seditious conspiracy. This is the group that Donald Trump famously told to stand back and stand by during the 2020 campaign. Along with other far-right groups like the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys descended on the nation's capital, heeding Trump's call for what he promised was going to be a wild time. The jury is expected to continue its deliberations on Monday. And while the Republican Party would like nothing more than to be able to move beyond the insurrection, the party's standard bearer is making that all but impossible, as he continues to make litigating the 2020 election and the big lie the main component of his 2024.
The big lie being that Trump lost.
Campaign. Trump yet again pushed those debunked conspiracy theories last night at a campaign stop in New Hampshire. But probably more problematic for Republican Party leaders is his continued embrace of the January 6th insurrectionists themselves.
He hugged somebody.
Night, he quite literally embraced one of the rioters who spent 160 days in prison.
You can't do that, Donald Trump. You literally can't hug these people. Guys, this is stupid because they're trying to say Donald Trump loves January 6 people. He's been so soft on them. He hugged one of them. Bullshit. Donald Trump should have pardoned all of them. But he didn't. He could have pardoned all these people for their past, present, and future crimes. He could have pardoned all these people for crimes they haven't been charged with yet and saved all of these people a lot of trouble, but he didn't because he's an asshole.
For her actions that day, Trump told her to hang in there and that they were going to be okay.
What they're saying is so sad what they've done to January 6th. So bad. Patriots. I mean, I hear terrific woman.
It turns out that terrific woman, Mickey Larson Olson, is a QAnon supporter who told NBC's Ron Hilliard last year that she wants members of
I guess I'm a QAnon supporter too, guys.
Congress, as well as former Vice President Mike Pence, to be executed for treason.
Did she say that?
Those were domestic terrorists inside our Capitol, and I'm going to prove it on my trial.
Who were the domestic terrorists?
Our Congress that's been stealing elections for a very long time. Our country's been under admiralty law since 1871.
What should the punishment for those members of Congress be?
Can you kill them?
Execution for being traitors. That's what our Constitution demands. Our Constitution demands that traitors in our nation are executed.
You see, the fact she's calling for military tribunal courts for illegal execution means January 6 people were trying to kill Mike Pence. You see, her saying that someone being found guilty in a court of law and a judge giving them the death sentence for treason is the same as riotous, like, murderers running around the Capitol killing politicians, like, without abandon. This is the arguments MSNBC makes because they think you're stupid.
And that's what should happen to each and every person that hijacked the voice of we the people.
Is that something that you see actually happening?
Yes.
She's fucking with you. She's fucking with you.
That's Trump's wonderful woman. And let's not forget that Trump has also claimed that he might pardon those charged in the insurrection if he reclaims the presidency.
Should have done it before.
He even went so far as to record a song with some of the insurrectionists who are still incarcerated awaiting trial. That song is now being used as part of his campaign events. While most Republicans remain silent about Trump's continued adoration for this group, recently ousted Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney tweeted this warning to her former colleagues. Trump is embracing a J6 defendant who called for the execution of members of Congress.
Are you gonna cry some more? Aw, you guys kept on calling for the execution of Donald Trump every goddamn day. Oh, Donald Trump is probably guilty of treason. And you know what the punishment for treason is, right? That's the exact same shit you guys said about Donald Trump on this fucking news network. MSNBC news anchors said the same shit. That Donald Trump could face the death penalty for treason is what this Liz Cheney bitch is saying right now. Fuck her in her face.
To elected Republicans who have endorsed him, you are endorsing his conduct on January 6th and every day since. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Joining me now is Congressman Eric Swalwell of California, a member of the House Judiciary and Homeland Security Committees, and Harry Litman, former Deputy Assistant Attorney General,
two fags right here,
columnist for the Los Angeles Times, and host of the Talking Feds podcast. Thank you both for being here.
Talking Fags podcast?
Your reaction to Donald Trump literally embracing a QAnon supporting insurrectionist who wanted people like yourself.
Literally embracing her. How can this stand?
Joy, these are the
Why are
foot
they not in
soldiers
jail?
Of MAGA Nation, and they're doing exactly what Donald Trump, Tucker Carlson, and the MAGA Nation want them to do, which is to carry out violence.
Dangerous conspiracy theories and spreading hate. Let's predict what he's going to say, guys. It's so common and boilerplate, you can predict it.
And their name, and they try and be cute about it by, saying stand back, stand by. But in all of their signaling, they are telegraphing that they want violence because they refuse to condemn the violence. And so...
Now look at yourself first.
The sedition charge here against...
I saw an old flyer, guys, from before the Capitol, before January 6th. It's an old Antifa flyer from like the summer of 2020. And it said, siege the White House. Siege the White House. Like you're going to lay siege to it. We're going to siege the White House. And yeah, that's not an insurrection at all. Taking over the White House, laying siege to it, that's perfectly allowed. No one talks, no one bats an eye about that. Nobody cares.
The Proud Boys leader is likely, and I'll leave it to the jury, is likely to stick because the aim of the violence they carried out was to try and overthrow the government that was counting the votes. And so, Joy, it's also, as we step back and look at accountability for January 6th, the Department of Justice can play their part, but if the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, is going to continue to meet with January 6th, he met with Ashley Babbitt's family.
You can't meet with the victim's family. That's like...
Recently, we just learned today, and allow his members to go to the January 6th jail. That's just a green light for more violence to be carried out in the name of MAGA Nation.
Now, why don't we do the Weather Underground? Now, do the Weather Underground. Weren't some of their actual leaders like convicted of terrorism? How'd that work out?
Seems so. Harry Lipman, let's go to this trial because I wonder if it surprised you that they have not reached a verdict as yet and that they are going to have to continue deliberating. What does that tell you as a former prosecutor?
I would say not a lot yet. So it's been 2 days after a trial of some 4 months with 5 defendants, 9 different charges.
35 undercover informants.
Sifting through the individual charges would have taken about this amount of time at a minimum. The congressman has been a prosecutor, and he might probably concur. 3 days, 4 days, that seems normal. You start to really bite your nails at the 5 or 6 day mark. So I don't think this is anything unusual or surprising so far.
Congressman, it sounds like you were agreeing.
Yeah, again, very rarely would they come back so swiftly, but, that's 45 different counts if you break it out with 5 defendants and 9 charges. And a diligent, responsible jury will give every defendant for each charge, the benefit of the doubt, which is, that the state has to prove its case beyond a reasonable doubt. And that takes time. So not much you can read into here. I would be interested to know what types of questions are coming back from the jury, if any at all.
How many feds were there?
Pretty
Can you tell us the...
Harry, let me go back to you on this.
Sorry.
So what we do know is that these are some of the texts that we saw going from Oath Keepers who were connected to other far-right groups, the 3 Percenters and others. So Kelly Meggs, who was the leader of the Florida chapter of the Oath Keepers, which is one of the other main groups, militia, started reaching out to allies and other far-right organizations. The militia had sought to create what prosecutors referred to as an alliance with the Proud Boys and the 3 Percenters. Meggs told a member of the 3 Percenters he had made contact with the Proud Boys and called them a force multiplier. There is video here that you will see that shows Enrique Tarrio, a documentary filmmaker, took this video. This is the garage meeting on January 5th. The video included a portion in which you could hear someone saying, "It's inevitable. It's going to happen. We just have to do it strong and fast." This video includes Stuart Rose, Enrique Tarrio.
What's the context of that? Do what strong and fast?
Gracia, who's the leader of Latinos for Trump, which also Enrique Tarrio used to be the leader of. Joshua Macias, who helped to run a group called Vets for Trump. We know that Tarrio sent a document saying 1776 returns, and it outlined a January 6th style attack, according to the Department of Justice. The plan was to occupy a few crucial buildings in Washington, D.C. on January 6th, including House and Senate office buildings outside the Capitol, with as many people as possible to show our politicians we're in charge.
That's the insurrection. We're going to occupy the building to show we are in charge. Not bring guns. It was the least armed insurrection ever. Because it wasn't an actual insurrection, it's a protest. That sounds like a protest. What they described was a protest. We're going to occupy this building and protest.
We know that several Oath Keepers were convicted of seditious conspiracy. Do their convictions tell us anything about this?
I think they pled guilty, actually. I don't think they were convicted.
Well, it's a really interesting and important point, Joy. And there's this amoeba-like quality of these groups. Even the woman that Trump embraced, she's no longer QAnon. She has got a new group. We see this in the international realm as well, where it's very hard for the government to kind of keep up because a trial is a snapshot of criminality when it happened. The theory here of the government, and seditious conspiracy is always a hard charge to prove, is that what the Proud Boys were and wanted to be was the spear going forward, because their numbers wouldn't permit the attack on their own. So they did need to combine, including with people who just got caught up in the moment. So yes, that garage video I found really alarming, specifically not just for the charges themselves.
He's smiling.
6, but for what it portends of the continuing kind of evolution and new emergence of groups in different forms.
He's talking out the side of his mouth. The snake has got a crooked smile. This guy cannot be trusted at all.
Right. And, you know, Congressman, the only group that was called out specifically by Trump, and he was asked to condemn far-right groups and condemn white nationalist groups. The Proud Boys were named. He said, stand back, stand by. We know there was an immediate response. They changed their logo to add stand back and stand by. They responded to him on social media
that doesn't mean anything.
That sort of interaction wasn't direct, but it definitely was. They directly felt he was talking to them. It just, as you look,
they were memeing on him.
Both as a member of Congress and also as a former prosecutor, does that tell you that it would be very difficult to convict Oath Keepers for seditious conspiracy, but not the group that was literally told to stand back and stand by?
Again, Joy, I'll leave it to the jury. This is their job. But it looks like, you know, they may have worn, you know, different colors that day, but they were all essentially on the same team and they had the same charge. But to the larger picture here, I do believe that what the American people are looking at, they're grateful that the Department of Justice continues to aggressively prosecute these cases. But January 6th...
Those grandmas have to go to jail.
I put it in two camps. You had the hustle and you had the muscle. And the muscle are the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, the groups that went in there
unarmed, no guns,
committed to carrying out violence. And they have been...
They're so committed to carry out violence. All these people, all the times on social media, are always busting around with their AR-15s and all their guns and all their Glocks. The only time they don't bring their guns is when they go to the insurrection.
Aggressively prosecuted. The country now, though, is asking, when is the hustle going to be responsible? And the hustle is Donald Trump, Rudy Giuliani, the people who spun up, incited, inspired, and aimed.
Wow, so this guy is just like, we have to go for our political opponents. Enough January 6th low-level people. They're all just fodder. We've locked up enough of them. We've established that January 6th was bad because we locked up all these bad people. Why are they bad? Because we said they were bad. Now, can we focus on the bad people's leaders? Trump. Can we arrest him so he can't be president?
Aimed the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers at the Capitol. And I think for complete justice...
I need to get a drink. I'll be right back.
The hustle and the muscle need to be, completely held accountable.
Which brings me back to you, Harry Litman, because we know that Mike Pence has now finally submitted to questions before the grand jury, for Jack Smith's grand jury. And it does seem, he was the person that the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers and 3%ers were directing their force at, trying to push him to do a very specific thing and take the election for Donald Trump. What does his questioning tell you about the state of Jack Smith's investigation, given that, all of the grunts are facing prosecution, but Donald Trump so far has walked away and is out campaigning like...
Why don't you charge him with a crime if he's up and about and walking? What crime? These people, they hate Donald Trump for what they perceive to be media crimes. He didn't actually do any real crimes. Otherwise, they would have fucking indicted him. Oh, what is going on in their heads right now? Are they thinking that prosecutors are just like, Donald Trump committed a crime, but we're not charging him because we don't feel like it? They think all these federal prosecutors are just sitting on their hands for no reason. All the Democrat federal prosecutors are all bought and paid for too. What is she thinking?
Nothing's happened.
First, the fact of it. Talk about law without fear or favor. You know, sometimes these events are so close, it's hard to appreciate. It's kind of breathtaking. The vice president of the United States went to the grand jury to testify against the president he served in a criminal investigation. And
that means he's guilty. That fucking means he's guilty. That means it right there. That doesn't mean jack shit. But they act like it's something. Can you believe it? Oh, I fucking hate these type of people so much, man.
By the way, Smith did it. He didn't even wait for Trump to try to go to the Supreme Court. Just as soon as it happened, he was yanked the next morning into the grand jury. That's one. Two, it was a whole day of testimony. We know some of the things that are vivid and does do a lot for Smith in terms of the conversations we heard about, especially the vicious one of January 6th itself. But they were talking, they were having weekly lunches from the time of the election, and there could be a lot more there. Finally, it's very important that he did it just to lock Pence in. It almost doesn't matter if Pence was kind of bobbing and weaving, because it says he wants that testimony in the can, and that to me says they're little pieces to tie up, but we are very near the end of the day if you're bringing the vice president in. That is not a preliminary move. I think it says that at least one, and there are a cluster of them, January 6th prosecutions is really about ready to come to market.
As the great Rachel Maddow would say, watch this space. Congressman...
Any day now. The doors are closing in, guys. The doors are closing in. We've heard this all before. All right, I'm going to wrap up this segment. We're going to continue the news. Okay, let's continue right here. Everybody, Radically Moderate back once again. And here we have the readout on MSNBC going after the Supreme Court for perceived illegitimacies, I guess. They hate the Supreme Court. They think it has a right-wing majority. They say that, it's a 6-3 conservative court. Meanwhile, we forget that we have the leader of the Supreme Court is a flip-flopper. But I guess to the left, anybody who sometimes votes right is right-wing. You have to be a hardcore commie, otherwise you're a Nazi in their eyes. So let's see how they phrase all this.
Crisis. Questions about the court's credibility and ethical standards continue to pile up as Chief Justice John Roberts refuses to testify before Congress. The readout continues.
Refuses to testify before Congress. He doesn't have to testify before Congress. Congress doesn't have power over.
The drip of Supreme Court scandal
continues.
The drip. Let's just tick off the controversy, shall we? Remember when Justice Clarence Thomas said his billionaire close friend, Nazi paraphernalia collector and mother's home purchaser, Harlan Crow?
Damn, way to muddy the waters. I didn't know half of that stuff there, Nazi paraphernalia collector. Apparently, if you collect old World War II paraphernalia, it's bad.
Had no business before the Supreme Court? Well, according to Bloomberg News, surprise, that's not true. The Supreme Court did, in fact, review at least one matter involving a Crow-linked firm. Justice Thomas did not recuse himself from the 2004 appeals case. And then we have Justice Neil Gorsuch, who, according to Politico, sold a property he owned to the head of a major law firm with business before the Supreme Court. But what's a story about SCOTUS disgrace without a mention of Brett Kavanaugh? A damning new report by The Guardian says serious omissions were swept under the rug in the Republican-led Senate investigation that claimed to exonerate Kavanaugh of accusations he sexually assaulted Christine Blasey Ford, as well as potential misconduct against other women decades ago.
Yes. These accusations, but no real charges ever filed. All this rumor and innuendo. Guys, how can these conservatives on the Supreme Court remain there after all this innuendo we spread about them and all these rumors? I don't understand.
The 2018 investigation prominently claimed to debunk the allegations of Deborah Ramirez, who said Kavanaugh exposed himself to her at a party, saying it was a case of mistaken identity. Turns out the mistaken identity claim was sent to the Judiciary Committee by an attorney named Joseph Smith, according to a non-redacted copy of a 2018 email obtained by The Guardian. Smith, who's also a member of the Federalist Society, wrote in that email that he was in a class behind Kavanaugh and Ramirez and believed Ramirez was likely mistaken in identifying Kavanaugh. Instead, Smith said it was a fellow classmate named Jack Maxey, who was a member of Kavanaugh's fraternity. But in an interview with The Guardian, Maxey confirmed that he was still a senior in high school at the time of the alleged incident and said he had never been contacted by any of the Republican staffers who were conducting the investigation. Joining me now is Senator Mazie Hirono of Hawaii, a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. And Senator, it seems to me that from the very beginning, Brett Kavanaugh's tenure on the court, his accession to the court, has been questionable because I don't think anyone who paid attention thought there was a thorough investigation of Christine Blasey Ford and other women's allegations. With this new information, plus all the other scandals, should there and will there be a specific investigation into misconduct, potential misconduct by Kavanaugh?
If you think they did anything fucking wrong, impeach them. Grow a pair of balls and impeach them. But you won't because you're cowards. That's what it is. Congress has the power to impeach every single one of these justices for their perceived crimes. High crimes and misdemeanors. It could be anything. They seriously could impeach Clarence for hanging out with mega donors. They're not going to. They're not. They could. They're not going to because they're weak and they're cowards. Seriously, look at all this fluff. They could. They impeached Donald Trump twice. Why don't they impeach any of the justices? It'd be so easy.
Well, with regard to Justice Kavanaugh, it was very contentious, as you know, and the FBI's so-called second investigation, we concluded, I certainly did, that it was totally inadequate because from what you're saying, they did not interview all of the witnesses, including, by the way, Dr. Ford. So going forward, my focus and that of the committee at this point is to require that the Supreme Court itself have some procedures for when there is misconduct within the court, and that's part of the bill that would require stronger recusal requirements for the justices, as well as requiring them to adopt a code of ethics. So there is a bill that would do those things, and that is the hearing that the Supreme Court Justice Roberts has declined to come and join us at. However, Joy, we are going to go forward because this is important. Disclosure is important, and
you have no power over a separate branch of government. You can't make them do jack shit.
Making sure that the Supreme Court is held to the highest standards. They should at least have a code of ethics that all the other judicial the judges have. It's really totally unacceptable that the Supreme Court seems to think that they don't have to abide by these requirements.
But the question
they only have to abide by the Constitution, whore.
The Senate Judiciary Committee has an independent authority to investigate. They are under the purview of the Judiciary Committee, and Justice Roberts raised separation of powers questions and said he wouldn't come in. However, we still don't know who paid off $700,000 in Brett Kavanaugh's sort of magically disappearing debts. We still don't know the full extent of the Crow relation.
If there's a crime, conduct a criminal investigation and impeach them. But you won't because you're cowards.
Financially with Clarence Thomas. We still don't know the extent to which Clarence Thomas's wife has been involved in insurrection and other political endeavors.
I wish she was. I wish she was there rioting. I wish she was at the Capitol steps. That'd be fucking hilarious.
Headhunter in connection in an elite law firm, according to whistleblower documents. And then there's also Gorsuch. They're selling and buying properties from people with business before the court. They are acting like a little tin pot elite that can do whatever they want. They have no ethical boundaries, and yet they're whining and complaining, including
Now do Macy Hirono. Does she hang out with billionaire mega donors? She never hangs out with people who donate money to her. She never takes. She probably gets direct political campaign contributions from Democrat mega donors, more so than any Clarence Thomas has received. He was just hanging out with people. He's not actually taking bribes. This whore takes bribes.
Including Alito, that no one trusts them and that no one likes them. Shouldn't the Senate Judiciary Committee investigate them specifically for their misconduct, not just to get a new ethics rules, but their misconduct?
Whether or
potential, I should say.
Whether or not we're going to go down that road as we are proceeding to require them to have a code of ethics, whether or not the committee wants to do the kinds of investigation, I frankly don't know, because what we want is for them to at least have a code of ethics so that these kinds of behaviors, these kinds of deals are at least disclosed to the American public. And I think what that leads to is a desire for court reform, and that we do not have a balanced court. We have a majority that is extremist. And my hope is that we will begin to really push for example, increasing the number of justices on the court.
Why? Because you say it's a 6-3 conservative court. So what would the fix be for that? To add on 4 more Democrat justices so that the court is properly balanced when every single ruling comes in favor of the Democrat. That's a proper court. As long as the Republicans are just barely losing, then the court is fair. But if at ever Republicans win rulings, it's an unfair court, especially right now. Completely unfair.
And all the other things that I think will change the way this court operates.
I think
there
a lot of people... I'm sorry, finish your sentence.
Yes. There are different ways that we can proceed. I've been wanting to get to court reform for quite a few years now. And I think all of this kind of drip that you're talking about means that I think there will be growing support for the kinds of changes that will reform the way this court operates. And that's where I'm going.
Now he's trying to change our institutions.
Thank you. Joining me now.
Now who's a threat to our institution, our core institutions of our democracy? They're losing the courts, so they have to change them.
Thank you. Let's bring in Elie Mystal, justice correspondent for The Nation. I mean, I could do 7 more minutes of potential ethical scandals, Elie. I mean, the conduct by Clarence Thomas could be criminal. The conduct by...
oh, my God. They cut off Senator Hirono to bring on this freak. How shitty of a senator do you have to be that they cut you off to bring in this doofus?
Back during that time could have been criminal. The FBI did a pretend investigation of him. He's sitting on the court judging whether we can have the rights over our own bodies, and he might have misused the bodies of women. To me, they seem completely out of the bounds of ethics.
He might have. He might have. So much for innocence until guilty.
Something that I think is a problem with the Democratic Party's response.
But seriously, just think about that. He might have done something wrong. Well, either he did or he didn't. And so you either have to act as, what, did he or did he not? You can't have it both ways. Did he do it? Then he's guilty, and we should convict him in court. But he didn't. So he's actually innocent. And you know what? He's innocent until proven guilty, you fucking whore. So you don't get to say, oh, he's been oh my God, I hate this innuendo shaming.
To this entire ethical catastrophe, right? And she said it, right? She was like, we're hoping the Supreme Court adopts for itself a code of ethics. Why are we leaving it up to them? Like, what more does the Supreme Court have to do to prove that it is incapable of policing itself? At this point, we are in a world where the Supreme Court's like, oh, we can totally police. Look, we saw a mouse in our house and we caught it. No, you idiot. If you saw the mouse, that means you've got 10 in the walls and you need to burn it with fire, okay? Like, it is time to send in the cats.
It's time to burn the Supreme Court with fire?
It's time to send in the owls. It is time to send in independent oversight over the Supreme Court that the Supreme Court does not have a...
Who's gonna fucking do this oversight over the Supreme Court? I'm sorry. Which branch of government is above the Supreme Court? You fucking retard. Look at this fucking retard.
choice with. And so the thing that I wanted Senator Hirono to say, that I want Senator Durbin to say, that I want anybody in Congress to say, is to use Congress's congressional authority over the power of the purse to bring these justices to heel. It is Congress that controls Supreme Court funding. Now, we have seen, because of some of the drip of scandals.
What are you going to do? What the fuck are you going to do? Are you going to cut the Supreme Court funding? You going to bring all the Supreme Court justices' salaries to zero? What the fuck are you going to do? Hold on, I'm sorry. Is another separate equal part of branch trying to control another one? Oh, Congress doesn't like how the Supreme Court's ruling, so they're going to cut funding to the Supreme Court?
That you mentioned, Joy.
Imagine if Trump had tried to do this.
Are probably able to live without their government salaries, right? Yeah. Between their land deals and their book deals and their laundering money through their spouses, they probably don't need their government salaries, right? But I bet they like having a courthouse. I bet they like having clerks. I bet they like having free Westlaw access. I know they like having taxpayer-funded security details, right? And if Congress starts taking those away, if Congress puts the stick to...
If Congress takes away the security detail of the Supreme Court justices and one of them fucking dies, holy shit, will that be a scandal? Are you fucking kidding me? I almost think that's going to happen now. You almost like this is what they want to happen. The only thing that can happen now is Supreme Court justices retire or get assassinated. And they're kind of calling for it. If we cut the security funding for the security details for the Supreme Court justices, they're more likely to get assassinated. And that's what this guy's advocating for. What the fuck? On MSNBC, let's cut the security details of Supreme Court justices. That's what he just told us. I feel like I'm going crazy right now, guys. This is amazing.
These people and starts taking away some of their perks and some of their privileges, then
their perks like being safe and not being killed. There was only a fucking people outside their house last year with guns who said that they were going to kill them. We had literal assassins less than a year ago trying to kill these fucking guys.
I bet you the Supreme Court would see the virtue in submitting to independent ethics oversight. It is that or the highway. This ridiculousness of the Supreme Court to police itself has already been proven to be false and unable for these justices to do.
Well, the other branch of government that could step in is, of course, the executive branch, namely the Justice Department. I mean, the conduct by Clarence Thomas is potentially criminal. I've heard not a peep and not a whit of a chance that he might be investigated for that misconduct.
Again, these cowards. If you think he committed a high crime or misdemeanor, you can impeach him. You don't have to try to charge them with a crime and make them a felon. Just impeach them.
It's starting to feel like these 9 people, and it's really 6 of them who've been doing just the strangest things, or at least 4 or 5 of them, are above the law. Because if the Justice Department won't do it, and the Congress won't do it, that means that they are above the law, right?
I do.
Well, if Congress won't do anything and the executive branch won't do anything, there's nothing to be fucking done then. Cry some more, little whore.
Not know what Chris Wray has to not do to get fired, right? Like, I don't know what other level of incompetence we need to see from FBI Director Christopher Wray for him to lose his job. He is the one who botched, and I would argue covered up, the Brett Kavanaugh investigation. He is the one who had the opportunity to hear all of these senatorial complaints. He's the one who went with like, oh, it was somebody else's exposed genitalia. It wasn't Brett Kavanaugh. He's the one who believed that. Why does he still have a job? Nobody can answer that question for me. So absolutely, the Justice Department, which Chris Wray works for, needs to get involved and at least figure out how they completely messed up an investigation into Brett Kavanaugh. They need to do something about investigating Clarence Thomas.
Hold on. This is assuming a lot of stuff here. We need to do investigation into how they messed up the investigation of Brett Kavanaugh. You're assuming the investigation messed up. Maybe the investigation was correct. It's like if a murderer gets off and you're like, oh, the police need to do an investigation how that murderer got off scot-free. Well, maybe he was actually innocent.
They need to do something, and they won't. And the thing that really gets under, in case you haven't figured it out, the thing that really gets under my skin, Joy, is that they won't tell me why. They won't tell me why they won't do this. In 2018, speaking of Brett Kavanaugh, when the Democrats were running to blue wave the House, Nancy Pelosi promised me that there would be a real investigation into the Brett Kavanaugh allegations. And that never happened, and nobody told us why. So, like, just at some point, you have to.
And you still voted for Nancy Pelosi, though.
People, yes, they are operating above the law because nobody in law enforcement tries to stop them. We should at least try to stop them.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if fucking Clarence Thomas shot somebody with a gun, committed a murder, they would impeach him, and he'd be put in jail with a real crime. Not these perceived media crimes.
Indeed, I think you're going to get a lot of amens for that. Having 2 out of 9 credibly accused either sexual harassers or potential sexual assaulters judge whether women can control their own bodies, including in cases of rape and incest, is a scandal in and of itself.
We've accused them of stuff. And because we've accused them of something, they shouldn't be allowed to rule on court cases that we think are important. And if they do, that's a scandal too, because we said so. These fucking assholes, man. The audacity. I can't watch this anymore. I fucking hate them, man. I wish these people get what they deserve someday. Oh, fucking A. God damn, I hate her so fucking. That's why I have to stop. So we're gonna get transitioned back into some text-based news articles. Then we got some more videos, and then I'm gonna be taking like a week-long vacation. No streaming. All right, Katy Perry. Katy Perry loses trademark battle against woman with the same name. Well, the woman probably same name, Katy Perry, and she was probably doing business. Maybe what was she selling? Like lotion? She had like a hair salon shop. Katy Perry's nail shop. What was she doing? Australian fashion designer Katy Perry. Oh, ooh, what do we got going on here? Famous singer Katy Perry lost a trademark battle with Australian fashion designer named Katy Perry. Judge ruled Friday that the clothing sold during Katy's 2014 Australia tour did in fact breach Katy's trademark. I'm getting these mixed up here. Katy with a Y is the singer, and the ITIE is the designer. The tale is of these 2 women, 2 teenage dreams, and 1 name. Justice wrote in her ruling. Why do they have to be so stupid at their writing? Alright, I'm already fucking bored of this article. I don't read articles beforehand. I just read the headlines. And then halfway through I realize they're boring. And so I cancel them. Career advice. What are you going to give him? He's designed for the internet. I hope he goes there to Rumble. Oh no, that was lame. Fox News rating is going down. Yeah, we'll cover this one really quickly. Fox News rating rapidly declined amid Tucker Carlson exit. Fox News 8 p.m. hour has faced an exodus of viewers in the aftermath of Daily Caller's co-founder Tucker Carlson's unexpected departure from the network. Carlson's first replacement host, Brian Kilmeade, of course they'd have him do it. He covers for everybody. Performed better earlier in the week, netting 2.5 million viewers, but declined significantly Tuesday night to 1.7. And Wednesday, he netted 1.3, while Chris Hayes notched 1.38 million. Fox News averaged 3.25 million in that same slot with Carlson at the helm. Yeah, they lost over half of their viewers now, at least for that slot. Fox News lost the other 8 p.m. cable shows in the 25 to 54 demographic. MSNBC and CNN drew 167 and 137,000 respectively. Fox drew 124,000 the same hour. So Fox News is now the lowest rated show in news. Amazing. Viewership slid. The viewership slide has Fox reportedly facing the worst national holiday primetime rating since 9/11. Oh my God. What a way to phrase that. Worst rating since 9/11. Oh my God. Newsmax, a Fox competitor, has seen their ratings significantly increase in the aftermath of his departure. Newsmax ratings have, their Eric Bolling's show on Newsmax brought in 562,000 viewers Tuesday. He earned 150,000 viewers a week earlier. Oh, so that's like 400,000 viewers. Damn. Good for him. If you like the type of content, leave a like down below, subscribe, share for friends. Radically Moderate out of here. All right, next Clown World article. Men who can also menstruate. College to provide menstrual products in men's bathroom. Emerson College will provide menstrual products, including tampons, pads, in all men's bathrooms. This decision follows years of lobbying from student activist group Emerson Flows. you people with your names. Flows? Which is aimed to fight for menstrual equality. Menstruation equality on campus. In April 2022, Emerson Flow started a petition demanding the college supply period products in all campus bathrooms. The petition reached 408 signatures before Vice President approved the initiative of $7,000 for a project. Dude, I need to go on campus and start petitioning, man. 408 signatures is all it takes? Damn. Although menstrual products were already distributed in select women's bathrooms, Emerson Flow's president Amelia Lang insisted they should be available in men and gender-neutral bathrooms as well. While I understand that the majority of menstruators in the school are cisgender women, we should still treat men who menstruate with the same level of respect. You get period products just like everyone else, and you get the same amount because you're just as valid. Healthcare is a human right, and part of healthcare is giving ample supplies for when your period happens. It shouldn't be a privilege based to get period care. Emerson tries to be inclusive, and the best way to be inclusive is to make sure there are resources available for everyone whenever they need it. Emerson's initiative to provide menstrual products in men's bathroom will begin July 1st, 2023. All right, and what are the comments saying? Newsflash: men are incapable of menstruating. They also are unable to get hysterectomies, and we don't live in fantasy worlds. Insanity continues to spread across American college campuses. As President Xi smiles broadens, you know it's serious when they allocate $7,000 to take care of it. Historic allocation. Well, $7,000 is more than enough. What a bunch of sick fucks these people are. They suffer from mental illness, and they treat you like children for calling them men, like you do when playing around with your 3-year-old when they think that they are Superman. What men menstruate? Put condoms in bathrooms. I think they already do that too, probably. Alright, if you guys like this type of commentary, like down below, subscribe, share for friends. Radically Moderate out of here. Let's read some of the comments in the chat. Spot on Way says, it's actually wholly our republic. It is pledge allegiance to the flag. And if you look at what the communist socialists trained, like that man was, look it up by the way, World War II Army vids. He tried to wholly abuse our democracy, Republic Social. Interesting. Bud Light. Tucker Carlson. Disinformation experts, Hunter Biden. We're going to talk about that. Okay. We're going to cover this video, I think, again. Shocking video shows high school male who identifies as female beating up girls after being denied entrance to the women's locker room. So this huge bro here Not that thing. The black person there. Without the hat. With the belly showing. Is gonna beat up a girl in like 10 seconds. Because the girls said you couldn't go in their locker room. So he's gonna just plow these girls. Right there. He just starts beating these girls, man. Haymakers. You feel tough, asshole, beating up a little girl? You're like twice their weight. Seriously. Look how big his arms are. His arms are bigger than mine. This guy's like roided up. You like beating up women, bro? You like attacking girls? What a creep.
Involved a female student and another student who was born male and identifies themselves as a transgender female. Now, turns out, according to Riverside Police,
look how much bigger he is than her.
Video shows another altercation between the two, and many people have taken to social media, specifically parents.
Like, seriously, he's so much bigger than her, and he's just shoving her around.
Larger than the other student. Now, that fight was eventually broken up by school staff.
But this guy is the ultimate bully, though. He's the cry bully. He identifies as a perceived minority group. I'm a trans person. Therefore, I can beat everybody up, and I can attack and punch and slap anybody. The second anyone does something violent to me, they're transphobic, and they're going to get canceled. They're going to lose their job. They're going to get fired, and society's going to come crashing down on them. Activists are going to beat them up. They're not going to get justice. But me, I'll be safe and protected because I'm the creepy pedophile who's trying to go in women's locker rooms. What a sick society we live in. How to recognize propaganda. Oh, okay. I'll check that out. If you guys like this type of content, leave a like down below, subscribe, share for friends. I don't know why you would. Fucking assholes. Beating up little girls. Illinois State University set to hold segregated graduation. I'm surprised they're just straight up calling for it. They like to try to be clever and call it a confluation or like some other. They'll use like a different word so it's not a graduation ceremony. But let's see what they call it here. Illinois State University set to hold a segregated identity-based graduation ceremonies in the class of 2023. Ceremonies will be hosted by registered student organizations in collaboration with the Students' Multicultural Center over the course of a month. According to the school, these ceremonies provide opportunities for underrepresented students to celebrate their success in graduation in a unique way. Fucking just being hood. Let's be honest here. What is it going to be? Why can't you have your... Why you got to be different? Why... And what? White people can't celebrate their things in a unique way? Oh, you're the majority, so you can just do your things boring chocolate way, boring vanilla way. You don't need anything unique. First of these is called a lavender graduation, which is set to occur on April 22nd. And it's the honor of LGBTQI+A, lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, and ACE identified graduates. ACE? What's ACE? Asexual? Okay. Why do they need their own separate graduation? Oh my God. Holds Nestros Logros, which will be aimed for Latino, Latina, and Latinx graduates. Following this is the MAPS. You can't call your group MAPS. Middle Eastern, Asian Pacific, and Southeast Asian graduates. And that's fucking racist. Oh, all of the Asians just go together. All of you guys... Yeah, people from Pakistan, you're just like people from Japan. But you guys are completely separate from fucking Latinos and LGBTQI. This doesn't make any sense. And then final ceremony is the Umoja Black Graduation to honor Africans and their diaspora. Oh, shit. My friend texted me. He wants to ride motorcycles. But I have to plan for my trip tomorrow to Portland. Campus reform previously reported on dozens of schools hosting similar ceremonies. Among what are these other ones? Dozen universities hold separate graduations. Yeah, man, there's a lot of them. Wow, look at them go. University of Colorado Boulder. I'm glad I don't see Wisconsin on there. That'd be sad. But yeah, these woke universities just feel the need to separate people based on their race for what are honestly racist notions. But you guys heard this all before. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. I'm going to move on to the next topic. If you like this type of content, leave a like down below, subscribe, share with your friends. Please follow me on whatever platform you're watching me on. Because YouTube deleted my channel last year and I had 1,000 subs and I was monetized and I felt pretty good about myself, but now I don't, and now I feel bad. So you can make me feel better by clicking the like button. Yes, my self-esteem depending upon you clicking that like button. Let's see here. Female scientists. People arrested. Hirono. Okay, so let's talk about this. Fox News is about to... How do I phrase this? They're going to lie to you. Let me back up a little bit here. You guys don't know, I record segments from my YouTube as we go here, so that's why I do this little stop and go shit. A new Senate bill would curb Trump's worst judges. The solution only makes it worse, though. They're going to lie to you. I mean, they don't lie to you. They're actually kind of honest to you in this Vox article. They admit that Macy Hirono's bill is bipartisan and is biased. It's blatantly biased. On Wednesday, Senator Macy Hirono introduced legislation this week that prevents litigants from doing just that, from judge shopping. You remember a couple years ago when one judge in Hawaii stopped Trump's immigration ban? He stopped it with a national injunction. And so the Democrats don't like that same thing is happening to them right now. There are Republicans who are going to judges in like Texas. Let's see here. Where were we at the beginning? A longtime activist for Christian right, CAC Merrick's, I can't remember, whatever, is a Trump-appointed judge who earlier this month tried to ban mifepristone, a drug used by more than half of all abortions in the United States. Before the decision was blocked by the Supreme Court, CAC Merrick's mifepristone decision followed an array of others, issuing from birth control, LGBTQ discrimination to immigration, where he sought to impose his will on the entire nation, just like that judge in Hawaii did. Nobody cried about it back then. People called him a hero. And really, the problem is even larger. Since the start of the Biden administration, right-wing litigants have started funneling their lawsuits into nationwide rulings to judges they believe will reliably do the bidding of the most extreme elements of the Republican Party, regardless of what the law actually says. This is actually what the Democrats do. Like when Trump had the unilateral authority to control which groups can enter or not the United States, and they said, oh, Trump actually can't ban North Korea. He doesn't have the authority. And he literally does. But judge shopping isn't exactly new. On Wednesday, Macy Hirono introduced legislation that prevents litigants from doing just that. It's not the perfect bill, and it would likely need to be straightened before it could stop far-right litigants from funneling their cases into partisans like CAC Merrick. It's also utterly unlikely to be enacted by this Congress. The bill is also a hopeful sign that Democrats may get serious about stopping the worst judge in this country from setting federal policy. So, well, skip down a little bit. Hirono's proposed legislation, the Stop Judge Shopping Act, is 2 pages long, but it seeks to end some federal courts' practice of allowing litigants to shop around for reliably partisan judges. If enacted, it would require any lawsuit seeking nationwide order blocking a federal policy and seeking an order blocking a federal policy that extends beyond the party's civil action to be filed in a federal district court of Columbia. In fairness, the short-term impact of this bill would move these lawsuits into a court that currently favors Democrats. And Vox News literally tells you, I'm actually shocked that they admit this. I usually scan these articles looking for lies. And so when they tell you the truth like this, we have to believe them. This bill proposed by a Democrat is unfair. They just propose unfair bills all the time. Why? Yes, they do. At the moment, most of the seats in the United States Court of the District of Columbia are held by Democratic appointees. And while Trump did appoint 4 judges to the court, none have shown, they've all been neocons. None of them are actually like right-wing judges. None of them are based. And also, the appeals court is very left-wing as well. The D.C. appeals court is dominated by Obama and Biden appointees. But the D.C. federal courts already hear an unusual... So then the rest of this article... I mean, this is kind of crazy right here. This part, the bill should be stronger. What does that mean? It should be more biased? It should be more partisan? So the Democrat plan is no more judge shopping. Instead of letting you pick a judge you want to go to, like Democrats go to a Democrat judge, Republicans go to a Republican judge, now all bills would just go to the Democrat-controlled D.C. No more judge shopping. Problem solved. Democrats win all the time, but then there's no... So look at all this brilliant reform they tried. Oh, we're just trying to make the court more... You can never trust these fucking snakes, man. I hate these people so much. All right, I'm going to end this article right here. We're going to jump to the next one. Yeah, I did a bit about this yesterday, about how I miss when we used to have honest journalists, and I miss having a president who used to not have to have questions given to him ahead of times. But let's see what's going on here.
Republicans right now up in arms.
Oh, Republicans pouncing. Republicans are pouncing. How about CNN care that the Republican and journalists are in cahoots with each other, and there is no actual journalism holding the president to account or grilling him? All the questions are prepared ahead of time.
Over what they're calling President Biden's cheat sheet. So did he get reporters' questions ahead of Wednesday's press conference?
Yes. It's obvious. Yes.
Republicans seizing on images of President Biden.
Seizing, pouncing. What a bitch. Fuck this guy in the face.
As an attendee at an Oval Office prep session, while another features a picture of Los Angeles Times reporter Courtney Subramanian accompanied by a question. Now, the RNC cast it as a, quote, cheat sheet and implied that Biden not only had advanced knowledge of the reporter's question, but needed the notes because of his advanced age. The White House pushed back on this today. Okay, so how different? Well, here's the note card against the question so that you can decide.
Your top economic priority has been to build up U.S. domestic manufacturing in competition with China. But your rules against expanding chip manufacturing in China is hurting South Korean companies that rely heavily on Beijing. Are you damaging a key ally in the competition with China to help your domestic politics ahead of the election?
So she's not reading the question verbatim, right, that we saw in the note, but the whole thing does look troubling. What do you make of it?
It's topically similar, certainly, to what Biden had on that note card, but it is a much sharper question than at least the note card suggested it might be. I don't know what happened. I don't want to impugn a reporter for,
Oh, we couldn't possibly impugn a reporter. Let me ask you, though, whore, how come her question is given to the White House ahead of time? How come the White House already knows the... Bro, you need to impugn her. She just did something impugnable. Why does the White House know what kind of question you're already going to be asking before you ask it? They have it in writing. They have your face attached to it. Your reputation is impugned.
Something that I have no visibility into whether there was an exchange with the White House or not.
There must have been. Are we fucking kidding this? It
is not unusual for White Houses or city halls or gubernatorial offices to try to get a sense of what reporters might be asking. I've never seen that detailed, a note card before. And
yes, I know. It's pretty crazy.
It is an unfortunate image for Biden for all of the obvious reasons. We see Republicans hitting him.
Why is it an unfortunate image for Biden? Why are you defending Biden? You should be happy he got exposed.
He's too old, that he doesn't know enough. I've never seen somebody have to have themselves listed as an attendee at an event.
I'm sitting here, by the way, with notes of what I feel like I'll next ask Maggie Haberman, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with notes, but in this case, it's political. I'll say this: it's political malpractice.
Okay, guys, there it is. See, when Republicans do it, it's bad. Republicans are pouncing on this opportunity. Just a bunch of pouncers. If you guys are pouncing on this opportunity, I need you to hit that like button. What a bunch of fucking assholes, man. I hate these people so fucking much. All right, now in a case of predictive programming, what's his name? James Lindsay would say this is our trans Floyd, or this is the predictive programming for it. You defend Biden and his evils because they're paid to. Yeah, I guess so. You're right. Gender-affirming doctor killed in trans-pushing Law and Order episode. They want it to happen. They need someone to be killed. They are hoping trans people are getting killed. When the Club Q shooting happened in Colorado Springs, everyone was, oh my God, they're shooting up our gay clubs. Until that quietly died down until we learned that it was a gay person who shot up their own club. Because communities attack typically themselves. And then we had another school shooter, except it turns out to be a trans person. So that got swept under the rug really quietly. And now they just want a trans person to get murdered. They're hoping a trans doctor, trans surgery performing doctor gets murdered so they can make it the next martyr. They're literally killing us. On last night's episode of NBC's Law and Order, an angry dad kills a doctor for giving his gender dysphoric child puberty blockers. The murdered doctor is married to a conservative congresswoman who is fighting against the LGBTQIA plus agenda. That doesn't make any sense. Why would these two people be married? Yes, I'm a doctor and I perform gender affirming care. And I'm married to a conservative who hates everything I'm doing right now. The episode, Private Lives, opens with fictional congressman walking up the stairs to her home as an aide tells her, we need to go over your schedule next week. The Freedom Caucus is rallying to ban trans athletes from women's sports, and they want your support. Before the aide can finish her sentence, the congresswoman finds broken glass and blood outside of her office. His husband has been bludgeoned to death. New York Police Department interview Congresswoman as she learns she regularly receives death threats. What a fucking crazy story. Okay, so they were trying to kill her, but they ended up killing her husband instead.
Do you know who sent that?
No. It was anonymous. I just had flagged the message for my security team.
Why would you be married to a doctor who's mutilating children? You're stereotypical neocon, guys. This is how they portray Republicans. They honestly think a Republican would be married to somebody like this. Like, oh yes, I'm your stereotypical Republican running for Congress. I'll say that I'm against transing the kids, but then I'll be married to a doctor literally doing it and profiting off of it. And therefore, I'm profiting off of it. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Either they're trying to say that, like, all conservatives are like hypocrites, or at least this one is. They're portraying them as that. They don't actually believe it. This is fucking retarded, guys. The shit they come up with. I would never I would advocate for violence all day long, but I would never actually do it. Every single fucking leftist. Is there any more clips from this episode here?
I wrote a permission slip so Taylor could go see
Be protected. You can protect the husband and the daughter at the same time. Stop transing it. No, the man. Okay. It's not a daughter, it's a kid. Oh my God, this poor boy is being abused.
sweetheart.
How fucking evil are these people?
Is fine.
God, man. Never mind the dead guy. Hold on. Let's read some of these fucking. We'll read some of the takeaways here. We watched that part. Shockingly, the first part of the show focuses on left-wing activists who have been threatening or violent, but rarely show something rarely acknowledged or on television. While the drag queen acknowledges his threats, he deliberately downplays the inherent sexualized nature of drag, dismissing legitimate concerns as merely from crazies. And honing in on who threatened Bartell, the episode goes so far in to interrogate a nasty Antifa activist who scoped out Bartell's home. Antifa activist. I was checking out the area because we were planning a peaceful protest outside Bartell's home, Crossgrove. You wanted to protest outside of a private residence with a baton, and you call that peaceful? Antifa. Politicians like Kristen Bartell want to insert themselves in the private lives of citizens, every citizen in the country. So why shouldn't their personal space be fair game? It sounds like a real Antifa. Public readings to children and public playing of sports on teams of the opposite biological sex are not about private lives, of course. Still, in this episode is the first time I've seen an Antifa mentioned in a network cop drama at all. So it was a pleasant aside to see Antifa member portrayed as a jerk. The episode's brief foray into the reality of left-wing rage ends when a detective discovers the murdered doctor was meeting with a 13-year-old privately in his home. At first, detectives suspect sexual molestation, but they learn the doctor was treating the trans-identified child. Taylor's school's counselor is a sister of the murder victim. She sent Taylor to her brother for medical intervention. Susan says Taylor refers to Taylor as he and her as she. Okay, so Taylor is a trans thing. Susan. He was giving her medication to block her hormones. It's a pause button for puberty. False. No, you cannot pause puberty. You cannot. Becoming a man or a woman is an ongoing process that never stops. From the day you are born, you are developing into a man or a woman. Nothing, unless there's chemical intervention. There is no pause button for it. All you're doing is you're just ruining the development, and you're causing a malign development. To provide relief for trans youth who feel distress going through the wrong puberty cross. Let me get this straight. You conspired with your brother to medically intervene in a child's care without the parents' consent. I was respecting her personhood. The medication has been used for decades to help non-trans people who begin puberty too early. I call bullshit. When was the last time a non-trans person began puberty too early? If, for whatever reason, she changes her mind, she just stops taking the medicine and puberty kicks in. It's completely safe and reversible. No, it's not. It's not reversible at all. When his penis stops growing, that's not reversible. When he's 23 and he still has a kid-sized dingus, you can't do anything about that. You can't do a bottom surgery anymore. You can't even make it a fake vagina if you want to do that evil route. And now you can't have a functioning penis either. You just ruined this person's sexual satisfaction for life. You made them a eunuch, basically. It's disgusting. And by the way, I'm preaching. You guys already know all this from me. Let's keep reading here. Susan's erroneous claim that puberty blockers are never questioned and the harms are downplayed later in this trial. In truth, puberty blockers are more than mere pausing. Detectives discover that Taylor's father killed the doctor. Roberts says he did it in self-defense, claimed the doctor attacked him after he threatened to call the police for prescribing puberty blockers to a minor without parental consent. No, I would believe that. But in an odd twist, it turns out the child's mother had given written consent and forged the father's signature, throwing cold water on the bogus self-defense claim. Oh shit. Oh shit. So the father actually did kill the dude because he was like, you're lying, because there's no way my wife would forge my signature to trans this child without telling me. And that's what the mom did, though. The mom did trans the child without telling him. So she either... Wow, this mom caused a murder to happen. Holy shit. That's fucking... You fucking... Oh my god. This is a wild episode, guys. I always want to watch it. But in an odd twist, it turns out the mother had given written consent and forged the father's signature, throwing cold water on the bogus self-defense claim. The assistant district attorney, Nolan, and Samantha Moreau tell the mother she needs to testify. Prosecutor? This guy's the evilest one on the show. Price. If your husband walks free, he'll continue to fight Taylor's transition. He'll file lawsuits and injunctions. Good. He's doing the right thing. This guy, he's like, listen, you can help protect your daughter. You can help continually ruin your daughter's puberty and cause them to be a fucking developmentally unsatisfied with their life. And also put your husband away in jail at the same time. This guy is just like, hey, listen, one option, you can keep transing your kid and put your husband away in jail. The other option is your husband doesn't go to jail and maybe your kid doesn't end their life someday. What the fuck, man? Never mind the dead guy. The important lesson is for the dad to go to jail so that Taylor can mess up his endocrine system and pretend he's a girl. Literally. On the stand, Deborah testifies that she consented because she feared her child would commit suicide. The suicide threat to coerce parents into accepting Malignly-like medicine is a psychological abuse tactic that the trans movement embraces. In the end, the killer dad accepts a plea deal for a 15-year sentence. Price offers a shortened sentence because he does not want the fragile teen son to testify, fearing the child's mental health. Congresswoman Bartel's career is ruined from testifying that her husband performed gender-affirming care. Oh, okay. That was kept secret then the whole time. Again, this whole episode is supposed to be the point that Republican will secretly lie about their values. They don't actually care about trans issues. It's all a front. She tells Price that her opponent doesn't even believe trans people are real. It's all make-believe. So the only thing you've accomplished here is making the world less safe for children. Her statement makes no sense, especially considering she's been threatened repeatedly by left-wing activists who want access to those children. For almost a decade now, the entertainment world has been working hard to normalize the trans contagion. Last night's episode of Law & Order was just the latest example. It validated a troubled teen's delusion and made sure that the Myrtle's villain is one of the people who rejects medicizing him. If you guys like this type of content, use your like down below. Subscribe, share for friends. Radically Moderate, reacting to Law & Order episodes. Holler. What time is it? 7 o'clock? How long have I been live for? I've been live for nearly 4 hours now. I kind of want to wrap up this show. Brian Walsh brought Hacksaw. Okay.
Corruption to talk about. This is a really important story.
No, it's not.
The RNC cut an ad going after Joe Biden. No surprise, Joe Biden just released his, official announcement for his
AI-generated ads, everybody. That's what this article is about. This video is about. What do you think? I'm not worried about the future. I say bring it on.
2024 campaign.
But these left-wingers have to seethe and cope.
Which is called
Can you believe Republicans did it? If Democrats had done the same thing, this guy would be saying how innovative it was, how progressive, how trend-setting it is. They're on the cutting edge. They're embracing technology. But when Trump does it, what guys predicted? What's he gonna say? It's dark. It's unsettling. They're just making up stuff that's not real. There should be more disclaimers. There should be more rules. What's he gonna do, guys? Leave your comments down below. Try to guess what he's gonna say.
Biden is 100% AI generated. Okay? I mean, it seems a little weird, right? Like, it's kind of lazy. Also, it's obvious that they did it. But at the same time, they were sort of denying that they did it, which is like, why? Why are you denying it?
How did they deny it? When every single frame of this thing says generated by AI.
The ad for you here. Let's play
What a fucking piece of shit, though. They deny it, kinda? How?
it, and then we will react.
This just in, we can now call the 2024 presidential race for Joe Biden.
This morning, an emboldened China invades Taiwan.
All right, I just want to pause here for a second. I hate, the vagueness drives me crazy. What if the weakest president ever were reelected? What does that mean?
It's a political ad.
Weakness.
It's grasping at straws.
Some people would argue that the withdrawal...
No, do left. Oh, Donald Trump is causing a rise of hate.
Afghanistan, for example, was weakness. But we've spent $2 trillion there for absolutely nothing. It was a total waste of time, money, lives, etc. Our own cities are falling apart. Why are we over there? So I think withdrawing was a good thing, right? But many Republicans would say, oh, that was weakness. Getting out of the war we never should have been in the first place was...
Maybe it was the way the withdrawal was done. Like when we saw Afghanis hanging on to the bottom sides of airplanes and then they fall 400 feet to their death because they were so desperate to escape the country. Maybe that's what they're fucking talking about, you dumbass.
It's a weakness thing. And it's like, okay, can you be a little more specific? This is AI generated, but it's also like any other ad any Republican staffer would make, right? It's just the weakest president of all time. What does that mean? What are you saying? Okay.
It means nothing. It's a political ad, dumbass.
This morning, an emboldened China invades Taiwan.
Financial markets are in free fall as 500 regional banks have shuttered their doors. Border agents were overrun by a surge of 80,000 illegals yesterday evening.
Officials closed the city of San Francisco this morning, citing the escalating crime and fentanyl crisis.
Who's in charge here?
It feels like the train is coming off the tracks.
So there you go. That's the ad. It's stunning how this is exactly like any Republican ad.
Yeah. So it's not news at all. Why do you care?
Oh, it literally says here, built entirely with AI imagery. Yeah. This is all these pictures. You can tell, look, I always talk about, here, I'll let it play as we talk here. I always talk about that uncanny valley, how you still sense it with most AI things. Like that looks obviously fake to me, you know?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm sure that, there are people who are not well-versed online or just really old and disconnected from this sort of stuff, and they would fall for it. It's already happening. But to a trained eye, this seems obviously fake to me. There's only one AI picture that has fooled me to this point, and it was one of remember that Pope picture where he's wearing like a very white puffy jacket? There was one image from that I thought like, oh shit, why is the Pope wearing that puffy ass jacket? And see, a lot of people fell for that one. So it's not impossible for them to cross that uncanny valley. They already have in some instances, but I think most of these things are kind of clearly fake. Anybody paying attention can really tell that it's fake. The one where I got fooled for real was we discussed this the other day, the Drake The Weeknd fake song that was made by some AI, and it was astonishingly good.
All right. He's gullible. They get him sometimes, okay?
That have gun violence problems for violence and likely worse in red states. One of the big narratives.
All right, guys, we got David Ass Pac-Man here who's going to try to gaslight us and convince us that gun violence is worse in red states than it is in blue states. but that's not an accurate way to look at the data at all. Red states? Are red states 100% red? Do red states employ only Republican solicitors or district attorneys? No. Oftentimes those are the local counties kind of control the crime. So you should really see how is the city and county in question. Even red states, David dumbass Pac-Man, have blue cities inside them. I'm sorry I have to explain this to my audience who already knows this, but to Pac-Man who he knows this. He's just trying to lie to us.
All right. I want to start today with yet another reminder based on a new study that gun violence is dramatically worse in red states. One of the big narratives that is going to play a significant role in the 2024 election is that of violent crime and murder and guns, and Republicans pointing to so-called
Democrat-controlled cities.
And suggesting that urban progressives, I guess, are responsible for violence and gun violence and crime.
Yes, they are.
This is very much not true. There's
it's not true.
Really good piece in Politico magazine called "Gun Violence is Actually Worse in Red States. It's Not Even Close," and it looks at this issue in a number of different ways. And
they're all retarded.
The study
retarded
gun
ways
deaths are far less common in the New York City area than in the U.S. overall, debunking one of the very often repeated claims from the right that New York City is some kind of dangerous hellhole. And the article explains that if you grew up in the coal mining region of eastern Pennsylvania, your chance of dying of a gunshot is about half if you grew up in the coal fields of West Virginia. Similar regions, relatively rural and relatively conservative, but you have stricter gun laws in blue Pennsylvania than in red West Virginia, and you're much less likely to die of a gunshot. And as you read the article, whether you divide the country up regionally or state to state, you find that historically and presently blue areas are significantly safer when it comes to gun violence. It's beyond the scope of this segment to go through the entire piece with you, but it divides the country up into all sorts of different areas and looks at this in so many different ways. The Deep South has some of the highest rates of gun death among major regions, and it's one of the most conservative parts of the country. Great Appalachia has the highest rate of gun suicides among major regions, and that is a right-wing area.
Fuck off, David. Nobody counts suicides as gun violence unless you're trying to manipulate people, which is what you are doing. You can't stop suicides. But they act like, oh, if only we banned guns, then less people would die. No, these people would still kill themselves, just not using a fucking gun.
And you go on, and you find that this is, quite frankly, an undeniable reality. Now, one of the important things to remember about why this isn't going to convince the deniers, and we'll link to this in the description to the YouTube video, and I encourage you to look at it and check it out. And, maybe it will change some minds. But one of the problems with this issue, and I've explained this before, is that number one, violence and crime are genuinely really complicated issues that can relate to culture, but also economics, gun laws, access to mental health services, so many different things. This doesn't mean we ignore any one aspect or focus on only one aspect. It just means it's complicated. But the trend line is that gun violence is much worse in red states. One of the things that will often happen is if you say, oh, the red states are where the problem is, you'll have some right-wingers come in and say, no, but if you look at the red states, where the real problem is in the blue cities. And of course, by sheer numbers, it can sometimes be the case that it is worse in cities.
Yeah. And who's in charge of these fucking cities?
But when you look at rates that account for population density, it stops being the case. But then if you say, well, it's a blue city, but all the violence is in the areas represented by the conservative city councilors or whatever the case may be, you can zoom in or out strategically in order to get the outcome that you want. And that can also make this a
So you admit this whole fucking piece, they zoomed out to the red state level to lies, stats, lies, damned lies and stats. Oh, I wonder if that's what they did here. They zoomed out to the fucking point where, oh, red states have all the gun violence. He even admits how they do it in this fucking video. But he wants you to imagine that they didn't happen to this article. This article is telling us the truth and not manipulation at all.
difficult conversation to have. But the big story, which is conservatives blaming blue Democrat cities and urban gun violence on gangs and welfare queens, and pretending that this isn't an issue in rural and conservative West Virginia or the right-wing Deep South or whatever the case may be.
No, it's black people committing most of the crime, the gun shootings. I'm sorry. It's people are going to come down at me, but I got to find the stat. I'm trying to find it right now. I saw the stat that says like shootings in America, and it was like gun violence, and it was a stat, and it showed that like black people are 13 times more likely to be in a shooting than your average white person. And a white person in the United States was less likely to commit a shooting than a fucking people in Sweden and Germany. They were more likely to commit a shooting than a white person in the United States was. So there's actually particular demographic groups that are driving up the gun violence rates in the red states. Now, David Ass Pacman would never tell you that, and he will purposely ignore that. But I'll risk everything to tell you the truth. I don't care.
Is simply not true. The right loves to talk about, Chicago and Baltimore as these crime-ridden hellholes.
As if they're not. They're not.
The truth is that even within cities that have gun violence problems, the gun violence is overwhelmingly concentrated in a few areas. Most of Chicago.
In the few areas. Which areas of Chicago? Is it the fucking Republican-controlled areas, David? Is it the Republican-controlled areas, David? Is it the Republican-controlled areas? Faggot?
Most of New York City, most of Baltimore does not actually have these issues. This is aside from whether the issues relate to a particular politics or how it relates to the state or whatever the case may be. Even within these so-called dangerous cities, the violence is overwhelmingly only in certain areas. And this makes it a really...
The black neighborhoods, David, say it. And those are Democrat neighborhoods.
To tease out one particular cause. What we know when it comes to solving the problem, before even, just on principle, so many on the American right don't even want to consider the fact that guns and gun availability may have something to do with it. And as I've said before,
so many on the American left refuse the fact that race may have something to do with it. Why are black people so overrepresented in gun violence? David never wants to look at that. Even thinking about it is racist in his eyes.
Let's talk about mental health. Let's talk about culture. Let's talk about poverty. Let's talk about education. Let's talk about all those things. But we can't exclude guns.
Let's talk about race.
Guns have to be part of that discussion. And check out the Politico magazine piece. It's very, very good.
All right, you guys. If you guys like this type of content, leave a like down below. Subscribe, share with your friends. Radically Moderate, risking it all for you. God, I fucking hate David. What a piece of shit. Yo, Swirly, glad to have you here. Yeah, I'm going to be wrapping up this live stream soon, actually. I've been going for 4 hours and 10 minutes now, and the wife's getting a little angsty. So, what do we got here? File this under the censorship. Oh, let me adjust my camera's a little crooked. There we go. You should watch the archive of the stream. It's a pretty good stream. I've been getting pretty spicy. I've been swearing a lot. I've been letting the rage flow. Australian government instructs independent news outlet to delete article that offends trans activists. Hey everybody, I'm Radically Moderate, and if you like this type of content and you want to encourage me to keep covering it, please consider clicking the like button, subscribing, sharing with your friends, leaving a comment down below. I'll read all the comments. The Australian government has instructed a news outlet to remove or heavily censor an article that offended a trans-identified male living in the country. Redux, an independent media project described as exposing gender ideology, received a notice from the Australia E-Safety Commissioner on April 28th. That's today. The notice alerted them to a complaint made about an article they published on April 1st. The article, thousands of complaints filed after trans YouTuber allowed to play on Women's Football League reportedly injured players, revealed that the identity of a transgender male who had been made subject of a mass complaint after reportedly injuring a female football player while on the women's team. Redux first covered the story after details of the incident were initially reported by Daily Mail Australia. The Daily Mail initially included pixelated photo to obscure the transgender player's identity. However, Redux traced the photo back to the player's social media and identified the individual as Riley Dennis. Riley Dennis, a trans activist and former YouTuber, best known for having condemned lesbians as transphobic for not dating trans-identified males. So this is a dude pretending to be a woman trying to hook up with other women. Trying to rape women, in my opinion. Despite this information being easily accessible, a formal complaint has been filed with the e-Safety Commissioner in effort to remove eDux's reporting. An e-Safety Commissioner at the arm of the Australian government, reportedly for handling cyber complaints of abuse material concerning Australian adults and ensuring rapid responses to material. In the request, the Commissioner asked Redux to remove all identifying information about Dennis from the article, stating that they were escalating this complaint on the basis that the material may incite harm towards a target individual. May. Well, this complaint may incite harm against this media outlet. Everything may cause someone to incite violence, technically. Me making this YouTube video may incite someone to cause and come kill me. Everything may cause something. That's not an argument at all. The sun may explode tomorrow. Therefore, we do X? No, it doesn't follow. Despite Redux not being located in Australia, the outlet was instructed by the Australian government to remove all imagery of Dennis, including all references to the player's name, soccer club, and social media handles. In addition, the commissioner also asked that the allegations suggesting Dennis had injured female players be removed and declaring them as false, despite over 12,000 complaints have been filed on the incident. So they're just trying to Orwell the news right here. This government's trying to seriously fucking... It's kind of crazy to see it. In an email sent to the outlet today, the e-Safety Commissioner outlined the reasons for the removal request. These reasons included that the article misgendered Riley as a man, which is considered offensive. Cry some more, bitches. And that Dennis is under significant distress and has indicated that he fears for his safety. So, in addition to the somebody criticized me and I feel for my safety. Take down the criticism. I wish it worked that easy for everything else in life. The teacher gave me a bad grade. It must be because I'm trans. Get the teacher fired. I fear for my safety. Twitter stated that the original Redux article was now being withheld in Australia at the instruction of the e-Safety Commission, noting that it violates laws of Australia. The message on Twitter does not specify which Australian law Redux has violated. Speaking to the Publica, she expressed amusement over the notice. What are they going to do? Throw a boomerang at me? I'm in Canada. Slat says, jokes aside, it is concerning that the government of Australia apparently has decided to dedicate an arm of policing mean speech on the internet on a global scale. After I received the email, I was so incredulous that I looked up the commissioner to make sure it was real and ended up spending an hour in total awe at the fact that they'd had an actual an adult cyber abuse division. Slat says Redux promptly responded to the e-Safety Commissioner and requested more details on potential consequences of non-action, but has not yet received a response. While I understand Twitter has to comply with local laws, I can't help but be a bit disappointed that they were censored the article in Australia. They stated it was because it violated Australian law. I had no idea misgendering was illegal in Australia. It simply reaffirms my desire to never go there. Despite the notice sent her way, Slat says Redux will not be taking any censorship action. Good. Finally a base news outlet. She also issued a statement on social media noting that the article will stay as it is. Good. Finally. Good. After a comprehensive analysis of compelling arguments presented by the e-Safety Commissioner, including that it was offensive to have Riley Dennis called a man, Redux has decided to leave the article up without alteration. Oh, this is the point right here. We correctly identified the player who's been identified as... Companies complaints informed us would be withheld worldwide in Australia. If you guys like this type of content, if you want to encourage me to cover more articles like this, please consider leaving a like down below, subscribe, and share with your friends. Radically Moderate out of here. Canada passes its duplicitous censor bill. It's 8 o'clock now. All right, guys. I think I'm going to cut it. I'm going to end the stream right here now. I want to thank everyone for joining me tonight. It was a nice little 4-hour stream. I'm going to try to do streams a lot more often. I got this urge to do them again. This vigor. But the next week, I'm going to be away in Portland. So I won't be at my usual green screen setup. But maybe I'll still be able to do it I'll do these live streams from the hotel room. So we'll see. Maybe not, though. I'll probably just want to hang out with my wife the whole time and have fun. So I'll take a week off. I'll still be uploading videos, though. All these videos from tonight are going to be uploaded to the YouTube channel later, so you can watch them later. Check me out at Radically Moderate on YouTube. I'm on all the other platforms. I'm on Twitter, and the link's down below. Read all the comments. Thank you guys for joining me. See you guys later. Have a great night. Take care. Next show will be hold on. Next show will be will be Monday the 8th. All right, and I am the Radically Moderate. It's a pleasure streaming for you guys.